Su Xing carried this girl on his back through this mysterious world for an unknown time. He had originally thought the days he spent in the pagoda would pass quite monotonously, but ever since this girl appeared, things actually became more and more interesting. Every day, Su Xing would carry Mojia over hills and through streams, walking towards that giant statue of Buddha. When he was weary, he would lay on the girl's thighs to rest, which counted as her recompense. Su Xing was very curious about Mojia's background, but no matter how he asked, the girl from start to finish was disinclined to speak. The occasional replies she gave were all small talk. Although they were simple, they nevertheless made Su Xing happily free and unfettered. If he could break through to transforming Star of Annihilation like this, that would not be bad at all. Simple times as Su Xing desired would not be kept for too long. On this day, Su Xing finally encounters several of the people he absolutely did not want to see in the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow Thousand Buddha Pagoda. Oh, why does this handsome young man look a bit familiar? Great King, your thoughts? A woman dressed in magnificent golden armor with golden hair, blue eyes and a domineering presence, showed a mocking smile as she looked at Su Xing. Among them was a scholarly young lady. At first glance, she seemed like a beautiful youth. That refined and beautiful girl also directed a cold stare at Su Xing. These two women were none other than the Crystal Dragon Palace's Great Liao's #1 fierce General Wu Guan, and the Liao Emperor Yelu Wuxin. There was also the sorceress He Baoer, but she seemed to be absent. The three of them had been sealed into Chao Gai's Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow Thousand Buddha Pagoda. Su Xing anticipated that Chao Wuhui would be unable to refine them, and could only trap them. Coming here to this world was a matter of luck. You are Lin Chang's Star Master. Yelu Wuxin had a very deep impression of Su Xing. Of course, it could not be anything else but deep. This man shocked the world when he descended into the Crystal Dragon Palace. Afterwards, he caused a commotion in the White Tiger territory. If it was not for his interference, she and Chao Wuhui would have fought on even odds, and she would not have been sealed into this pagoda instead. This kind heard that Chao Gai treated you quite favorably. What, did she finally see through your true face and seal you unto the pagoda? I willingly entered the pagoda. Su Xing was calm. Willingly? Wu Guan roared with laughter. What in this accursed pagoda would make you so willing to enter it? This accursed pagoda has but sealed the great Liao's 3 fierce generals. Wu Guang's expression was unsightly. She glanced at her great king, but Yelu Wuxin showed no indication of action. If we were in Star World and this king had not thrown away her destined weapon desolate destruction, how could this king ever place this trifling Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow Thousand Pagoda in her gaze? Yelu Wuxin sneered. Su Xing shrugged. I'd better offer you my sympathies. You, Wu Guang was furious. Who is that on your back? Yelu Wuxin spotted the slumbering girl on Su Xing's back, and her brow suddenly wrinkled. Like you, a star general sealed in this pagoda. Su Xing said. Yelu Wuxin showed an even more perplexed expression. Hand her over to this king, and this king can consider letting you go. Yelu Wuxin extended a white hand. Don't tell me you're still capable of martial arts in this pagoda? Su Xing suddenly felt a sense of foreboding. Yelu Wuxin's lips curled into a smile. See for yourself. Wu Guang obliged. Like a monster out of its cage, she twirled her origin-mixing spear and pounced. She aggressively howled. The Su Xing that had completely lost his cultivation relied on his innate powerful martial arts talents to see through Wu Guang's line of attack. Su Xing subconsciously wanted to use the Bagua escape, only to then find he was unable to activate it. The origin-mixing spear instantly attacked his stomach. Cold light fired, and Su Xing inwardly screamed. Just at this moment, Su Xing felt his body instantly become agile. A mysterious energy suddenly burst forth, and by the time Su Xing knew it, he was astonished to discover that he had at some point surprisingly teleported in another direction. Wu Guang's terrifying killing intent had unexpectedly been evaded without any warning. Not only him, but Wu Guang herself also showed an expression of shock. Her attack just now had an abundance of power and completely sealed her opponent's paths of escape, but just as the spear was about to kill him, Su Xing nevertheless magically vanished. Surprisingly, even she was unable to perceive this. Watch this. Her spear clanged. She was honestly an unstoppable brave. This time, her spear attacked even swifter. Su Xing's eyes were dazzled, but he once again abruptly vanished from under the spear attacks. It was as if Guan was being humiliated. Her footsteps moved, and she fiercely launched herself over, her spear suddenly unleashing her killing intent. Thousands of spear shadows and tens of thousands of lights practically disintegrated this world. This level of powerful attack capability was expected of the #1 fierce general of the Liao Kingdom. Even Su Xing recognized that he had no certainty resisting this at peak cultivation. But Su Xing was astonished to discover that a power from who knows where brought him to another location. The killing intent that filled the skies did not even touch a corner of his clothes. Impossible. Guan was enraged. Su Xing had no interest in tangling with them further. Right now, his own escape from the pagoda took priority. By means of this lithe power, Su Xing bounded towards the giant Buddha. Guan wanted to give chase when the Liao Emperor called her back. Do not pursue. Great King. Guan was mad. She felt that she had been humiliated. An insignificant plebeian without martial prowess had surprisingly emerged unscathed from under several dozen of her attacks. She did not even touch his clothes. Guan felt she had no face left. This is not your fault. Can it be you did not notice the girl on that man's back? Yelu Wuxin's brows was locked tight. Subordinate does not understand. That girl is helping him, otherwise, how could he have possibly escaped? Who is that woman? Subordinate was helpless against her. Guan was flabbergasted. This king perhaps knows who she is, but she should not be one to help this man in the first place. Yelu Wuxin contemplated for a while. Great King, just who is she? This was the first time that Guan saw her great king show such a frightened expression. The legendary star general who has inherited Star World's great song of 90,000 years, Feng. What? Mojia thanks. Su Xing flew swiftly over the land. Guan did not chase him. Su Xing surmised the reason for the phenomena just before ought to be related to the girl on his back. The wind gently blew the bangs hanging over the deeply sleeping girl. She was still in slumber. Over the next few days, Su Xing entered a flight of suffering. Guan followed close behind like a beast. Although Mojia's power helped Su Xing avert several disasters, he was not so fortunate every time. Several times, Su Xing was nearly cut in half by Guan in a moment without strength. In the end, Su Xing needed to rely on all his power to face this Guan's relentless cuts. Just like this, Su Xing abruptly discovered the power originally sealed in his dantian was gradually emerging from a cocoon, with an abundance of power. Forcing himself into dire straits, losing his energy, then annihilating himself once again. Of course, that kind of strength to enter a domain of death absolutely needed to surpass Supervoid Peak in order to work. No wonder Liangshan Continent's cultivators were never able to achieve this. Other than divine beasts, Liangshan Continent was extremely lacking in those kinds of existences with power that exceeded Supervoid Peak. Even if they did exist, they could not possibly be as fortunate as Su Xing, to be able to dodge disaster every time. As it turns out, this was the profundity of transforming Star of Annihilation. Su Xing finally grasped the highest realm that countless of Liangshan Continent's cultivators pursued. He looked at Mojia, deeply aware that without her, he could not have comprehended this. It seemed that while Chao Wuhui's speech was harsh, she had still been secretly helping him. Su Xing found it funny that Chao Gai had to go to such great pains. It appeared that Maiden Mountain's newcomer was quite impressive. Night. The giant Buddhist figure was already getting closer and closer. In less than 2 days, they ought to be able to arrive. That place was the highest level in the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda. It was full of formidable power. The Guan who could surpass all suffering, and a devil transformation was there. When he thought of this unyielding woman, Su Xing sighed. She had been subject to too much hardship. That Guan is not your star general at all. Feng Mojia was as gentle as before, sitting on her legs. Su Xing walked over and customarily laid atop her thighs. Although Su Xing felt this honestly was not good each time he got up, he absolutely could not refuse. But every time the girl acted compliantly and gently, Those deep eyes full of mystery seemed to focus on him. Before he knew it, Su Xing would collapse onto them. But it could not help but be stated, he slept very peacefully on the girl indeed. Without this tranquility, Su Xing could not possibly have comprehended transforming Star of Annihilation so quickly. Now Su Xing already felt the power in his body was currently coursing through all of his meridians. This magic energy was completely dissolved into his body, the abundance of which was unlike supervoid cultivation. This kind of cultivation was even closer to nothingness, a return to a natural state. Because Liangshan continent did not have any records pertaining to transforming Star of Annihilation, Su Xing did not know to what degree he grasped transforming Star of Annihilation. According to the different sensation in his meridians, at least 12 had completely opened. And there were still others. She is not. Why must you concern yourself with her? To even come to this place in search of her? Feng Mojia continued. She can be considered a friend of mine. Su Xing answered. Although they were once foes, the two of them had already buried the hatchet. Besides, Su Xing was very impressed with the brave star's heroism. This was the first time he felt such regret at not signing a contract. Feng Mojia was silent for a while. What if she is dead? Dead. She is refining the Devil Star. She ought to be fine. Su Xing muttered. Are you unable to accept her death? Feng Mojia softly said. Unable to accept. If she is actually dead, then I'll resurrect her. Su Xing clenched his fist tightly. Not just Guan, but also Shi Xiuxiu, Zhu Manxiang, and more. Feng Mojia nodded, not making any statements. After a short period of silence, Su Xing opened his eyes and gazed at the woman's face. Tomorrow leave this place with me. I'll speak with Chao Wuhui. You're a pretty good girl, not like a villain. Feng Mojia shook her head. Then tomorrow we will part ways. Su Xing said. Feng Mojia nodded. Seeing her still so quiet, Su Xing did not want to force her. After he came out, he would properly ask Chao Wuhui about this girl's identity. He felt it was not simple. Su Xing, would you like to listen to a story? Feng Mojia spoke. I'm all ears. Su Xing closed his eyes. The girl spoke slowly, her voice like a trickling stream, clear to listen to. There once was a girl who, at the age of 8, inherited the name of the strongest wielder of power, ascending a throne that countless people dreamed of. But she was fond of writing, tea arts, and calligraphy. At her side were 4 ministers and officials. These ministers had preferences in wealth, beauty, power, and battle, taking hold of the entire nation's lifeline. But they were not satisfied at all. Surrounding this nation were also too many enemies and opponents to take. What opponent was there to take? Su Xing groggily asked. For example, the heavenly immortal star immortal of poetry Li Zian of the Tang dynasty, who was enormously talented, beautiful and graceful. Or perhaps the emperor of Star World's ancestral dragon, haughty and unequaled. The girl smiled. Su Xing proceeded. Continue. But the nation was not well. The domestic situation was turmoil and chaos. Among them, the power known as no matter the time, any place is home, was the power that struck the most fear in them. The nation was already undefendable. Therefore one day, the 4 ministers obtained a notice from the Xuannu of 9th heaven. They would attempt one final battle. What final battle? Su Xing's voice gradually trailed off. They would summon heavenly spirits and earthly fiends to stage the very first Genesis, and at the same time name millions of star names. If it was you, would you stop them? It sounds like something very tiring and very boring. Su Xing yawned, his consciousness fuzzy. This highness also feels that it is very tiring. Feng Mojia smiled. She lowered her head and gently kissed Su Xing's forehead, softly saying, So if you are tired, then sleep. Su Xing completely lost consciousness. As expected, you are Fenghua. No matter the time, any place is home, Your Highness Feng Mojia. Through the vastness of the night, a voice penetrated. Liao Emperor Yelu Wuxin stepped forth, clapping her hands and smiling. Have you taken an interest in this man? To unexpectedly speak so much about Star World's affairs. This highness is weary. Feng Mojia lowered her eyelids. Yelu Wuxin continued, unconcerned. worthy of the one who frightened the 4 great ministers and even that empress. Never imagined that the 3 heavenly book that this king used would unexpectedly summon you. The Feng Law who inherited 90,000 years of star names. However, you are a thorn in the side of the great Song Kingdom. The war has lasted several tens of thousands of years. To speak of who hates the star duels the most, then there is none other than you, Your Highness Mojia. Feng Mojia shut her eyes. Wu Yin Guang bellowed. Hey, what is this attitude towards the great king? She raised her origin mixing spear as she spoke and attacked. A ray of cold light pierced through the night, the pale pure land. I want to see what abilities you have. Feng Mojia glanced out the corner of her eye. A blue mist flew out. Wu Yin Guang's blade cut it to pieces, but in that fleeting instant, she immediately felt her mind go blank. The woman was astonished, all of a sudden feeling her consciousness turn heavy, falling to the ground just like this. Then, without even looking, Feng Mojia snapped her fingers with her left hand. Behind her a light flashed. He Bauer was pulled out of hiding. Blood fiend. The girl's fingers moved. A dozen murderous auras billowed. And the blood fiends that swept over everything danced. But before these blood fiends even touched Feng Mojia, they were stopped by an invisible force. This highness wants to rest. Feng Mojia finished speaking. The blood fiends were torn to shreds. He Bauer's expression was perplexed. She immediately collapsed onto the ground. This is the power that surpasses even the heavenly stars. Yelu Wuxin broke into a cold sweat. Feng Mojia lifted her head, her red lips gently parting. The Liao Kingdom star name should have already changed hands. A kind of powerful force sunk into her mind. Yelu Wuxin felt her consciousness beginning to go blank. The woman collapsed unreconciled. You must end the star duels. Answer me, Feng La. Answer this king. You must destroy the Song Kingdom. Your Highness, no matter the time, any place is home. As your debt of gratitude, you will help this king and the Liao Kingdom. Promise this king. Yelu Wuxin endured falling over. Finally, Feng Mojia sighed. This highness promises you to end these star duels. Then good. Ha, this king has a clear conscience about the king of the Liao Kingdom. Yelu Wuxin sat cross-legged, her scholarly aura slowly dissipating. She glanced at Su Xing then back to Feng Mojia. This king can rest in peace. The Liao Emperor closed her eyes and sunk into eternal rest. In this lonely world came a long and drawn-out sigh. Liked it. Polo flowers bloomed as far as the eye could see. Brahmanistic chanting was loud, resonating bliss. A giant Sumeru Buddhist idol was in front, its appearance very venerable, firm and calling for piety. Armored idols, bodhisattvas, Buddhas, and more filled the surroundings of the Sumeru idol. Some people were prostrate in worship, others read scriptures, doing different things. The Su Xing, who had gone through myriad sufferings, was immediately solemn when he saw this scene. This was the 7th level of the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow 1000 Pagoda. I should be able to leave the pagoda through the level, and Guan is sealed inside the Sumeru idol. Su Xing said. The Feng Mojia beside him was silent. I really am grateful to you for these past few days. Su Xing turned to smile at the girl. In the Heaven-Earth Dark Yellow 1000 Buddha Pagoda, he was to overcome the 7 feelings and the 6 desires. However, because she was here, Su Xing actually was not affected too negatively. On the contrary, countless lap pillows under the starry sky were fully enjoyed by Su Xing towards this mysterious and ephemeral young woman. Su Xing honestly could not see through her. However, Su Xing had an intuition that this girl absolutely was not as simple as a trial of the pagoda. Ever since he saw the Liao Emperor, he never saw them afterwards. Perhaps she had something to do with it. Despite this, the young woman still made Su Xing feel dazed. Each lap pillow made him unable to help but open up. Speaking of, he had never mentioned his past on Earth to Lin Yingmei and the others. The girl from start to finish listened quietly and attentively without uttering a word. Occasionally, when she would soothingly help Su Xing organize his bangs, Su Xing could even see from her eyes much yearning and suffering. This highness ought to go. Feng Mojia quietly said. Su Xing was somewhat reluctant to part, mostly because he liked the girl's quiet listening. You and I have a connection. You've helped me so much, it really isn't too good. Do you have a wish you want me to help with? Wish. This was the first time Feng Mojia had heard a person tell her they wanted to help her achieve a wish. Her expression turned absent-minded. You are unable to fulfill this highness wish. She shook her head. The Su Xing that had wanted to show off suffered an enormous blow to his pride. You say I can't fulfill it before you even tell me what it is. Tell me then, I actually may be able to help you, as long as it doesn't go against my conscience. Feng Mojia stared and then smiled. This was the first time he had seen her smile. This was quite a perturbing blow. Wait until you reach Star World. Star World. At the present time, Su Xing honestly could not fulfill this. Just who are you? Su Xing curiously asked. Why would you appear in this place? Unliving yet also undying, infrequent yet also unceasing, unusual yet also unremarkable, unarriving yet also unleaving. Feng Mojia abruptly said softly. Su Xing's brow wrinkled tightly. Though he possessed the meditative mind lotus flower and a great understanding of Buddhism, he naturally knew this was gibberish. Now go fulfill your wish then, Major. Feng Mojia calmly said. That last phrase shocked Su Xing Major. It felt like a long time since anyone called him by that rank. After his astonishment passed, Su Xing suddenly had a sort of unreal feeling as if he was in a dream. How do you know my rank as a major? Su Xing had never mentioned this at all when speaking about himself. Feng Mojia merely looked at Su Xing without saying a word. She is waiting for you. Go then. Su Xing asked over and over, but Feng Mojia did not want to answer this question at all. Su Xing bitterly smiled. He had a dozen wives. Each addressed him differently, but whether it was the deepest young master or some other, none of them could make him lose himself as much as Feng Mojia's major. This truly should not be. I will come visit you in Star World. At that time, I will help you fulfill your wish. Su Xing earnestly said. This was a promise between two people. Feng Mojia was calm as a dry well, as if she was saying, I will be waiting for you. Then Su Xing set out for the Sumeru idol. Watching Su Xing's departing figure, Feng Mojia softly sighed. She opened her slender fingers. A light mist and purple light swirled about, forming the shape of a great blade. Upon careful inspection, this blade was none other than Guan Ying purple brilliant reclining moon blade. This highness shall first help you achieve one final wish. Feng Mojia opened her hand. The purple light shot into the Sumeru idol. Casting one final glance, Feng Mojia's figure then abruptly vanished from sight, like the blossoming and withering of the Queen of the Night. As if nothing had ever happened in the first place. Su Xing reached the top of the Sumeru idol. He saw this place had a platform, a great number of white pagodas, 100 saraira floating in the air like stars in the sky, scriptures, and even more sonorous chanting. This place ought to be the center of the Pure Land. If Guan was refining the Devil Star, she would absolutely be in this place. But Su Xing had yet to see Guan. What is going on? Su Xing was somewhat uneasy in his heart. At this moment he heard a sharp laugh. My Buddha of compassion, to surprisingly have brought you into the pagoda, this envious is truly delighted. A figure emerged. Astonishingly, it was Envious of the East, and beside Envious of the East was a golden crow demi-king who also had a cold gaze. You too haven't been refined. Su Xing chuckled. Because Envious of the East and the golden crow demi-king offended Chaogai during the Vermilion Bird Territory's struggle over the 10,000-year Gu, she sucked them into the pagoda. Ever since he saw the Liao Emperor, Su Xing had thought this encounter may occur, but the disparity between the Liao Emperor's realm and theirs was too great. For them to survive was fundamentally impossible. He never expected that not only these two were still alive, they had contrarily survived intact. Su Xing saw the dignity in their eyes. Surprisingly, they had been refined into Buddhist disciples. Your cultivation has decreased. Are you comprehending transforming star of annihilation? Envious of the East could see clues, and he was unable to help but be surprised. To surprisingly be able to reach transforming star of annihilation. This man truly was a monster. If you are peak cultivation, this Envious honestly would have been helpless against you. But right now you have no one to blame, but yourself that hell has no gates. Your time has come. Envious of the East laughed, raising his palm. Against a super void middle stage palm. The Su Xing was merely an ordinary person right now, definitely could not bear this. Fortunately, Su Xing had battle doctrine and excellent martial arts, evading handily. Although the Golden Crow Demi-King bore no enmity towards Su Xing. Hearing Envious of the East mention the matter of transforming Star of Annihilation, he raised killing intent. He opened his mouth and breathed out the essence fire of the sun, like a coiling dragon. Even Su Xing's body techniques could not dodge an ability like this. Su Xing gloomily wanted to vomit blood. Transforming Star of Annihilation was exalted as Liangshan continent's strongest cultivation. In the end, he was currently no better than Stardust stage. Just at this moment, a ray of purple light broke over, splitting the Golden Crow Divine Fire in two. The Golden Crow Demi-King's expression changed. A chilling blade light emerged, stunning. The Golden Crow Divine Fire assumed the form of a three-legged crow. Its power swelled, but that blade light also became a purple phoenix. The Golden Crow Divine Fire appeared impressive, however, it was completely destroyed by this purple phoenix after only a few exchanges. The remaining power directly broke the Golden Crow Demi-King's chest. Before he could react, he was split in two by a blade, vanishing. Envious of the East's eyes were dazzled. A figure was already next to him at this time. He immediately activated the Three Clarities sword chant, but the sword chant was similarly swept aside by this gorgeous great blade. Similarly stunning and breathtaking blade light filled the sky. Envious of the East's sword chant was completely unable to resist and immediately was destroyed. It's you. Why? Envious of the East did not dare believe the purple brilliant reclining moon blade that appeared before his eyes. A pair of unwavering pupils did not give him an answer, but they gave him an absolute promise of death. With this, Envious of the East very quickly ended his aggression. Everything happened in but an instant. Su Xing was taken aback, looking at the woman who suddenly appeared on the platform. That was a figure he would never forget. A countenance of supreme dignity, composed as a painting or poem. Clad in armor and fluttering clothes, her jade body was awe-inspiring. Brave Star Greatblade Guan. Guan. Seeing her, Su Xing breathed a sigh of relief. You have finally come, your distinguished self Su Xing. Guan gripped her great blade, speaking in a low voice. Have you finished refining your devil star? I've come to get you out of here. I need you in order to end the star duels. Su Xing said. End the star duels. Guan was momentarily absent-minded. You are still considering this? Of course, a real man keeps his word. Su Xing calmly said. Staring at Su Xing's eyes, Guan did not see within any bluff or high-sounding words past star masters used to deceive their star generals. Guan nodded, muttering quietly. Since this is the case, allow this general to lend you a hand. Before Su Xing could be elated, Guan suddenly revolted. The purple brilliant reclining moon blade drew a unique slash, an unrivaled blade light. Guan. Su Xing looked at the cut on his chest, incomparably flabbergasted. If you want to scale the peak, then become transforming star. Allow this general to help you reach this unrivaled. Guan wielded her great blade, her tone stern. She strode forward, lunging. Hey, things aren't going as planned. Su Xing was depressed. He wanted to seek out Guan for a return to the star duels, not to continue old enmities nor to return to their past state of irreconcilable adversaries. Su Xing completely lacked any intent to fight, relying on his body techniques to evade. Guan was furious. If you do not use full power, this general shall cut you to pieces. Why are you doing this? Su Xing asked. This general is still the head of the 5 Tigers generals. How can I serve a second master? Do you still not understand? Su Xing. Guan Ying's voice resonated ear-splitting. Even if this general has rescinded her contract, she will not contract a second master. Besides, this general is refining the Devil Star. This general owes too much blood to the sisters. How can this general show her face and return to end the star duels? Guan Ying's tone became gentle. Ending the star duels is the common goal of your Maiden Mountain sisters. How can you just cower here in the name of your so-called face? Su Xing shouted. Guan shook her head. If your distinguished self Su Xing cannot bear Guan Ying's resolution on this, then this general can only destroy you here. Guan Ying slowly spoke. Her aura became more and more powerful, more and more eerie. The air around her was like a sheet of white paper stained in black ink. This blackness slowly spread, and at the same time, the purple heavenly phoenix of the great blade in her hand became a black phoenix, appearing overbearing. An indescribably wicked beauty rendered Su Xing speechless. But regret and agony filled his heart. Devil Star Guan Ying's true stance. Why haven't you refined it? Su Xing was completely at a loss. Guan Ying's black pupils were dazzling. An evil grin blossomed on her lips, yet it was full of a strange gentleness. Then help Inger remove it right now, your distinguished self. Use the promise of this life. Liked it. The quiet valley was already split apart. All kinds of severe saberlight and sword marks crossed in a disorderly chaos, stripping the valley of its original appearance layer by layer. Lin Yingmei raised her spear, her breathing quiet and slow, adjusting her rhythm. Sweat slid from her forehead down to her chin, the droplets evaporating away before they fell by formless killing intent. Reflected in Lin Yingmei's unwavering eyes was the likeness of Chao Gai. Thousand Buddha star Chao Wuhui already lacked her previously haughty attitude, and her golden armor was already mottled with cracks. The light of the heaven-earth dark yellow Thousand Buddha pagoda, hovering over her head, was receding, its power weak. Under the combined assault of Lin Yingmei, Wuxia, and the others, even the Chao Gai who was outside the star duels cut quite a sorry figure. Chao Gai was not angry, however. Rather, she was beaming with joy unfathomable. Good, very good. This one did not favor him in vain. Chao Wuhui, you laugh, but you do not look the slightest bit all right. Wu Xinjie stuck out her tongue, speaking dispiritedly. The battle already was dragging on to nearly its 7th day and 7th night. Now it was a full moon suspended in the sky again, and they were finally at their limit. The instinct of the star duels was compelling Wu Xinjie and the others to set out for Maiden Mountain. But each day Su Xing remained trapped was a day they were unable to be at ease. Now that the power of the Thousand Buddha pagoda was like a candle flame in the wind, gradually ebbing, Wu Xinjie once again spurred herself on. Sisters, renew your efforts and even Chao Gai will not be able to continue laughing. Lin Yingmei breathed deeply, once again gripping her Arctic Star Serpent spear tightly. As everyone's sister and the first to follow Su Xing, she was the strongest, the first wife in both name and reality. Her every word and action now represented all of the girls. If you are unable to proceed, your lord husband will die under Guan Ying's blade. Chao Wuhui provoked them. Wu Xio cracked a cold sneer. Your concubine does not believe this will be the case. When she finished speaking, wind rose across the level ground. Noble Frost Demonic Lotus split apart into twin swords, their sword chi filling the valley, becoming countless white lotuses. Beneath the snow-white lotuses, black flowers bloomed, contrasting beautifully with the snow lotuses like pitch-black ink. This honestly was purity that grew out of the mud unsullied. Wherever the twin swords passed, peach blossoms and lotus flowers bloomed. Unsurpassed beautiful killing intent suffocated the space in a range of several dozen li. Following Wu Xio's determination, it descended straight towards Chao Gai. Earth rank. Ownerless peach tree is in bloom. On the other side, Lin Yingmei acted at the same time. The girl became an ice-cold shooting star. Wherever she passed, breath turned to frost, and ice and snow encroached. An enormous sun and moon behind Lin Yingmei's spear froze solid. The black and white figures pincered from the left and right. Teamwork that would make anyone envious. Chao Wuhui bellowed, not daring to overlook the earth ranks of the Harm Star and Majestic Star. She immediately defended, golden lotuses emerging from her sleeves, filling the world. The golden light was blinding, resisting the black lotuses and peach blossoms. Even when the true Phoenix 8th stage Chao Wuhui was weak, Wu Xio could barely persist, but the pilgrim's attack merely pulled open the curtain on one last overture. The others promptly rushed out like raptors, moving swiftly. All of their most powerful techniques were unleashed in a flood. This hatred faces wind, this passion leaves moon. Mercy. Phoenix execution skybreak. Phoenix dances 9 days. Bright full moon fills heaven and earth. Weather is not predictable. Sound lingering a millennium. Throw money away recklessly. Countless techniques flocked over, the most indescribable scene in the world. Bodhisattva and Buddhist light, heavenly wheels, phoenixes, and a bright moon were among the incomparably beautiful sights, unable to be described. The new heavenly phoenix, white and black unicorn tiger, snow-treading frost-eye beast, nine-tailed spirit fox, and the other star beasts lent their masters a hand, inciting their strongest offensive. Zhao Hanyan, Gong Kaiwei, and Shi were not idle either. Their strongest powers, flying swords and magic weapons attacked, sparing no effort. Even if they posed little threat against Chao Gai, they hoped to contribute their humble efforts. The Chao Wuhui who did not give way smiled. She raised her palm, using her heaven rank for the first time in her life against star generals. Nirvana of all things. The valley scenery surrounding Chao Wuhui vanished in the blink of an eye, transforming into an all-things treasure wheel, like an impregnable cycle of bliss. Their magnificent killing intent vanished within this, and a kind of heavy and formidable power descended from the heavens, barreling towards Lin Yingmei and the others in succession. Goddesses, treasure wheels, immortals, and other phenomena instantly encircled them. A kind of feeling of loss came from their souls. They were completely depriving the girls of their strength. Heaven rank. Wuxia grit her teeth. This was the power of the Buddha star's heaven rank. Even with their teamwork, they were surprisingly defeated in an instant. A pity that they currently had yet to comprehend their own heaven ranks. Otherwise, they would still have a chance in battle. This one shall beat you back into your original shapes. Chao Wuhui waved, and was about to end this battle, where they had overestimated themselves. But Wu Xinjie laughed. You finally used your heaven rank. Then do not blame us for spanking you on behalf of our young lord, Chao Wuhui. What? Chao Wuhui was taken aback. All of a sudden, she saw all of the girls had knowing looks. Past them, Chao Wuhui caught sight of the indifferent maid. The maid was in a leisurely pose, both of her hands held out. Skillful star wanderer Yan Yizhen's crimson pupils were very penetrating. The tattoo on her snow-white back vividly beginning to glint. The yin-yang carps leapt out from her hands, swimming around her. Two fantastic colors of fire and ice ignited on her body, slowly morphing. The maid strode forward. Her steps were elegant. Fire and ice peeled off her body, like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. Even Chao Gai was stunned. Her already slender thighs became even more slim and developed. Then, her waist narrowed, extremely thin. Her chest was full, on the verge of bursting out. Her maid clothes became a gorgeous long skirt. Her layered clothes were beautiful as phoenix feathers. When the two carps finally left Yan Yizhen's face, Yan Yizhen had already transformed into another beauty. Thin brows with clear and bright pupils, glinting pure and gorgeous. Her fresh and rosy lips curled into an elegant curve. Her fair skin was like ice and snow. Let alone that alluring figure, even the most beautiful dancer in the world could not compare. Hunyangzi was known as the pinnacle of beauty across the 9 generations, but when this girl appeared, she was still a dazzling beautiful, someone that could not be looked straight at. To say nothing of Chao Wuhui, even Lin Yingmei, Wu Xiyo, Gongsun Huang and the others stared in shock. This is little Yi's heaven rank, Phoenix Reincarnation? Wu Xinjie was envious. The girl grinned and walked forwards. Her fingers spread open, and a bright flame ignited, finally turning into 2 gigantic, gorgeous phoenix-like feather fans. Matching with the girl's temperament, she honestly was unmatched in the world. Feng and Huang. Chao Wuhui recognized this destined weapon, and her expression became grim. The girl's hands gripped the fans, stepping into the heaven-ranked domain of nirvana of all things, so gracefully, comfortably, calmly, easily. Please accept this girl's dance. The girl spread her wings, smiling gorgeously. Who was she? Who else? Heavenly splendid star. Li Shishir. Star position, tranquil star. Star name, Shui Yong. Nickname, Sick Tiger. True name, Shui Mingxi. Rank, 84th star. Weapon, Good and Evil Karma. Banner 4 star, Star Beast, Death Sound. Realm, Extreme Realm. First stage. Innate skill, Incurable disease. 5 elements, Wood yellow rank technique. Funeral rite dark rank technique. Corpse beheading earth rank technique. Evil has its retribution current status. Crimson star covenant with earthly speed star arrow hit tiger star position. Speed star. Star name, Ding Di Sun nickname. Arrow hit tiger true name. Ding Wanjing rank. 79th star weapon. Under heaven arrow force 5 star star beast. Insect carving realm. Extreme realm 3rd stage innate skill. Anger 5 elements. Fire yellow rank technique. 10,000 arrow array dark rank technique. Weary bird forest return earth rank technique. All stars kill moon current status. Crimson star covenant with Shuemingxi detail materials. Song Qingxi looked at the information presented upon the birth treasure outline, an endlessly ruminating expression towards the two girls before her eyes. The others were astonished and curious. They really are sisters, to surprisingly sign a contract with another sister. Wang Jingji cried out this was inconceivable. Even with leader star Song Qingxi's uprising, there were surprisingly other star generals that could contract with other star generals. This was honestly unprecedented. Originally, Dai Xingyue had wanted to understand the details of this star master and star general pair, so she used the birth treasure outline. She never expected this line of information to surprisingly appear when she directed it towards Shuemingxi. Mingxi, we cannot disguise ourselves as pigs to eat the tiger. Ding Wanjing furrowed her brow. Shuemingxi rolled her eyes. Hearing her words, Song Qingxi's faction broke into laughter. Perhaps you can inform Qingxi just what is happening with this? Song Qingxi softly asked. Why must we inform you? Ding Wanjing. This is the secret between Mingxi and I. Ding Wanjing. Mingxi, do not tell her anything. Ding Wanjing. Before she could say anything, Ding Wanjing blabbered on and on. Can it be you actually want to join those star masters in that foolish monster-slaying alliance? 9 tattooed dragons. Shijing Luan's gaze returned from the window. She vaguely felt that Wang Luan was currently taking those star masters through training. That power was indeed very formidable. Although they had Wang Luan training their martial arts, Shijing Luan actually was not envious. Her gaze then turned to the rear courtyard. A woman powerful enough to be without equal in Liangshan drank wine. With a tipsy expression, she gave pointers to the martial arts of Sun Yueying and the others. Even Li Longkue had been drawn over. Once I fall into a state of poor health, I am able to sign a contract. This is my innate skill. Shuemingxi powerlessly said. But she can only contract with a star general. Ding Wanjing pursed her lips. Meaning, if the previous overlord Wu Song had signed a contract with Sick Tiger, then she could have ascended Maiden Mountain? A pity that the star duels were too merciless. The probability for a weakened Sick Tiger to sign a contract were too remote. But it must be after half a year from the ending of the 3rd phase. Shuemingxi continued. Shijing Luan was very skeptical why she would know this so clearly. Ding Wanjing continued to chatter. Because we were always together. Wanjing originally saw that she was suicidal, and wanted to find a place with good feng shui to be buried in. Saying this, the two of them recalled past events, distracted for a time. Even without saying anything, Song Qingxi could discern that the sisterly bond between these two was very profound. She recognized that they had quite the tale. Little sisters, would you follow your servant up Maiden Mountain? Song Qingxi softly asked. Ding Wanjing wrinkled her brow and asked her partner. Mingxi, what do you think? Shuemingxi very weakly said. Can we refuse? Song Qingxi smiled and nodded. Then I shall agree after all. Perhaps elder sister can make Wanjing shut up for once. Ha! Can it be that I am really noisy? Ding Wanjing. I just like to talk, that's all. You surprisingly despise me. Ding Wanjing. If it was not for me, how could you have heard so many interesting stories about the purple thunder monster? Ding Wanjing. You forget favors and violate justice. Ding Wanjing, Song Qingxi and the others were speechless. Shuemingxi vomited blood. I will have to decline after all, elder sister. Please have that big sister bury me right here. Liked it. Su Xing looked at the woman leaning on his shoulder, at her clean brow, her fine hair, her charming lashes. Her forehead was outlined with an indomitable spirit, and her facial features were carved as if from jade. Further down was her pure white neck, which was stuck with some strands of her fine black hair due to the intense exercise earlier. Her breastplate was carved with flamboyant dragons and phoenixes. She leaned against his shoulder. The soft touch of her body was extremely distinct, but Su Xing did not have any doubts at all about the strength under this softness. Just now he had been suffering under her. The woman's legs were folded. Under her armor and skirt, those slender thighs that met together were like an impregnable dam in the tranquility. In battle, they became storming footsteps, turning into powerful weapons full of fatal allure. This was Brave Star Great Blade Guan. When they finally set aside their fighting intent, only then did Su Xing discover that the unsurpassed woman who was like a god of war still possessed in her tranquility an aura that gave him the urge to protect her. In this pure land world, the colored glass was already beginning to wither. The faraway temples, treasure idols, and white pagodas were slowly disintegrating. The fluttering polo, the space in front of his eyes, Su Xing could not help but recall the battle earlier with Guan. Of course, the process and result of the battle was already not worth mentioning. Having gone through Hu Banzwang's strongest overlord baptism, Su Xing's martial arts were already sufficient to contend against Guan for 100 bouts without defeat. And the battle with Guan, rather than say it was to make a clean break, it was more appropriate to say that the Brave Star was imparting to Su Xing the last of her martial arts. Thus this battle was knowingly held back at the very end, so currently this kind of tranquility remained. A while after, Guan broke this atmosphere. "Why do you not leave? I came to get you out. If you won't leave, I won't leave." Su Xing calmly replied. This general has already withdrawn from the Star Duels. To participate once again would be a shame to the past Brave Stars. Su Xing, do you want to disgrace this general? Guan shut her eyes, sleeping against his shoulder, her tone very apathetic. The Guan who had turned her life of martial arts into a teaching noticed that after the battle, this fleeting moment of gentle tranquility was very comfortable. Presumably, Lin Yingmei and the others were very fond of this. Su Xing, who had been a soldier, was very aware that honor and duty were more important than life, so the Su Xing who was able to reverse black and white and speak with a glib tongue was silent at this moment. Maiden Mountain has powerful enemies waiting for you. You must properly protect my sisters. This purple brilliant reclining moonblade shall be entrusted to you. Guan slightly closed her eyes. She pointed her finger, and the 5-star purple brilliant reclining moonblade appeared in front of Su Xing. A coiling dragon manifested, purple light glinted, and that singly devil star originally on the blade had long already become one final shining star. Silence. It is regretful that this general has only comprehended Earth rank. If it is you, perhaps you can help this general fulfill her wish. Su Xing continued to be silent. Guan said nothing earlier. They continued to enjoy these final moments. The heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda suddenly shook. This illusionary world fired a ray of white light. It flew straight towards them. Su Xing knew that the time had come to leave, that there were still people outside waiting for him. I know. Take care of yourself. Su Xing held Guan Ying's hand, tightly grasping her palm, just like a chain. Guan was taken aback, but did not resist. She allowed Su Xing, who was reluctant to let go, to hold it. Her heart softened without reason. Guan left the most gentle order in all her life. This general shall wait at Maiden Mountain for your triumph. The white wind blew, and flowers fell like rain. By the time the wind stopped and the flowers ceased, that hand Su Xing held had already vanished. All traces of Guan disappeared into the wind. Ai. Su Xing sighed. When Su Xing emerged from the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda, Lin Yingmei and the others were currently somewhat pacing back and forth in worry. When they saw Su Xing appear, they finally sighed in relief. Chao Wuhui, many thanks to you this time. Su Xing cupped his fist in gratitude to Thousand Buddha Star Chao Gai. You're injured. Su Xing saw that Chao Gai was cutting a bit of a sorry figure, leaving him a bit surprised, but he immediately realized what had happened. Little sister, please help heal Chao Wuhui. And Su Wen walked over. Chao Gai said, no need. It seems you have passed through the heaven-earth dark yellow thousand Buddha pagoda well. This one has not undertaken this in vain. For the road henceforth, you are on your own. Saying this, she raised her brow. Chao Wuhui coldly swept her gaze over the others, vanishing from this place in the blink of an eye. She left so fast. I still wanted to ask her about Mojia. Su Xing was helpless. Young lord, have you completed your wish? All of the girls cared more about what happened to Su Xing in the heaven-earth dark yellow pagoda. Su Xing also explained the sequence of events. When he mentioned Mojia, all of the wives glanced at each other. When he mentioned Guan Ying's starfall, that she left behind her reclining moonblade, they were unable to help but be silent. However, in the end, he still did not comprehend transforming star of annihilation. Although Su Xing felt he was already past the peak of supervoid, even facing off against Guan in battle, which had the greatest likelihood of transforming star of annihilation, he felt he was lacking something. Lacking levitation to Star World? Hua Wanyua was pensive. According to records, transforming star of annihilation could levitate to Star World. Maybe. Su Xing was not clear on this. He had contracts on him, so levitating to Star World was perhaps not very realistic. You are lacking destiny. All of a sudden, a lovely and pleasant voice rang out. Su Xing paused. This voice was honestly nice to listen to, like the mellow song of an oriole, yet also clear like a wind chime. Each word was full of an extravagant feeling. Su Xing was well aware of the voice of each of his wives, but this voice did not belong to any of them. Where is little Yi? Su Xing did not notice little Yi's presence. All of the girls' expressions became somewhat strange. Sisters, why not introduce Xinger to our newest sister? Chai Ling held her cat, sitting far away and seemingly smiling. New sister. Little Yi is over there. Wu Xinjie stuck out her tongue and pointed at the lakeside. The girls parted, and then Su Xing saw. At the edge of the lake, under the willows and cliffs sat a sweet and elegant woman. The woman's skirt was like a cloud, her clothes like snow, her smile delicate as a flower, a jade beauty. The hibiscus of the pond did not measure up to the woman's beauty one bit. And that serene scent lost appeal before the graceful woman. Honestly, this was the feeling of the beauty outshines the hibiscus. The water palace's wind brings the fragrance of pearls. Even Su Xing could not help but be captivated for a moment. Willows hang straight, strands of green in the mist. Upon the dike, I saw them many times, floating off in the water. I climb up to gaze at the old capital. Who knows me? I am a tired guest away from the capital's bustle. The years pass by the long pavilion path, broken stalks piled on for 1,000 chi. The woman rose, walking towards Su Xing with slender elegant steps. She spoke softly, saying gently, "Does Lord Husband know who she is?" Wu Xiao lowered her head, and a smile curled along the corner of her lips, speaking ambiguously. Little Yi. Su Xing wrinkled his brow, but he felt something was off. This woman was honestly too beautiful, too dazzling. To use the phrase beauty that ruins a city would not be an apt description. Yin Yizhen was very beautiful, but not this much. The girl walked before Su Xing. Yuan jealously ground her teeth. As they were similar women, how was it that this woman's steps were so beautiful and charming? Out of everyone, perhaps only a queen could compare in charm and nobility, beauty and purity. You were singing Lanling Wang just now? Su Xing took a deep breath. Yin Yizhen had once sang of this Lanling Wang before as well. The girl slightly curtsied. She spread her hands and two beautiful phoenix fans appeared. This woman Li Shirshir greets Mr. Li Shirshir. Su Xing said in astonishment. Your true name is Li Shirshir? Does Mr. have any objections? Li Shirshir thinly smiled. Su Xing blankly looked at Wu Xinjie and the others. All of the wives helplessly nodded. She is little Yi's heaven rank incarnation. Incarnation? Shirshir comes from Star World, both in name and reality. Li Shirshir said. Is that so? Then mind if I take a look at you? Su Xing asked. Li Shirshir very alluringly winked. Shall this girl undress? Please do. Su Xing chuckled. How could he tease her in front of Lin Yingmei and the others? He said nothing, turning over his wrist and manifesting the birth treasure outline. However, like that time with Chao Gai, there were practically only question marks. Star position. Splendid star name. Li Shirshir nickname. Flying General true name? Star number, 188 star weapon. Feng and Huang double fans star beast? Realm. Innate skill. Country ruination 5 elements. Metal yellow rank technique. Spread wings dark rank technique. Phoenix dance earth rank technique. Heaven rank technique. Current status. Psychic communication cannot be conquered. Detailed materials. The birth treasure outline. If Mr. had 4, then you could have seen even more clearly. Li Shirshir said. Presumably you exerted great strength against Chao Gai Shirshir. Su Xing saw that she was Yan Yizhen's incarnation and was very sincere, but he had a question. When will Little Yi return? Does Mr. feel Shirshir is annoying? You are in such a rush to have Shirshir leave. Li Shirshir played with the Feng and Huang fans, speaking softly. This girl's voice was indeed mesmerizing. If it was not for the heart-like mirror soul technique, Su Xing honestly would be somewhat unable to resist. What are you planning? Fine then, if you want to replace Little E, I must inform you, Little E and I often take intimate baths together and do some fun things. Su Xing saw her nobility and was still unable to help crack a joke. You want to try? Li Shirshir remained unperturbed. Mr. truly is impatient. Wait a moment. Su Xing suddenly recalled some things. You said you are from Star World? Then you must be very aware of Star World's affairs. Li Shirshir wore a small smile upon her face. Li Shirshir and Zhao Ji, you must have some relation to Star World's Empress? Su Xing paused. Why is Mr. so certain? Li Shirshir showed slight amusement. Su Xing naturally could not say that he recalled some poetry or something. I saw that you are an incomparable beauty, and your innate skill is country ruination. How can this be a misnomer in Star World? Indeed, the Empress is fond of Shirshir's dance and song performances. Li Shirshir said. Then she interrupted Su Xing. Shirshir knows that Mr. wants to ask about ending the star duels. Over the course of 1,000 years, only the current skillful star was able to unite with Shirshir's mind and body. Presumably, her master is also an incomparably accomplished person. To end the star duels, you indeed require the Empress. How do we do it? Everyone was anxious. To have Shirshir deliver a message to the Empress on behalf of Mr. is not difficult. But, she wants my virginity? Ah! Su Xing was about to recommend his services when Zhao Hanyan stepped on his foot from the side. Please dance with me, sir. Li Shirshir extended her hand that was white as frost and gave a thin smile. Liked it. Su Xing extended his hand. Li Shirshir's enchanting smile was even deeper. Her white palm emitted fire that transformed into a beautiful phoenix fan. Her left hand attacked at the same time. The phoenix fans were spry and lively, radiating flames all around. Her slender waist spun around, her body techniques like a dance. Dance steps began. Su Xing naturally did not believe he would actually dance with Li Shirshir. The instant she made her move, his flying swords flew out at the same time. The 5 elements flying swords each released spirit light and spiraled around. Their sword lights were resplendent, descending. Li Shirshir's Feng and Huang closed and opened, flapping like actual phoenix wings. Gorgeous flames directly struck apart the flying sword's assault, and Li Shirshir reached in front of Su Xing at the same time, her fan sweeping upwards. Su Xing shouted, opening the meditative mind lotus flower, but Li Shirshir's technique was valiant. The phoenix wings sent Su Xing directly into the air, surrounding him in flames and igniting. Su Xing's blossoming meditative mind lotus flower was surprisingly scorched away in the blink of an eye. But Su Xing's powers were not limited to this. He snapped his fingers, firing purple mansion immortal thunder. Purple thunder rolled. Li Shirshir showed a bit of interest. The graceful woman's legs stepped into the air, her phoenix brilliant as she took flight with her wings. Her slender waist seemed to dance. The true killing move was emerging, like a phoenix's arrogant wings. Purple thunder was immediately smashed. Su Xing flipped before he landed, thus avoiding ending up in a sorry state. He lifted his head to look, but his chest scorched with pain. 2 wounds appeared. Li Shirshir gracefully landed, her phoenix arrogant and lofty, just like the proud bird itself. Even the most outstanding Gongsun Huang showed slight astonishment at Li Shirshi's gorgeous attack. Li Shirshi slightly smiled. That was her dark technique just now. Spreading wings. So powerful. Su Xing's heart sank. In their brief encounter, the dark technique broke his meditative mind lotus flower and flying swords. The smoothly flowing attack completely dazzled his field of view. Su Xing did not expect he would be unable to receive the attack. If you are unable to keep up with this girl's dance steps, this girl is unable to inform Mr. of things. Li Shishi slightly smiled and said, I understand. Su Xing spat out a mouthful of essence blood, manifesting the dragon sparrow Duel saber. The moment he grasped the hilt, the dragon phoenix on the blade seemed to let out a cry. The next instant, Su Xing's body was like an arrow, already pressing the attack. The saber tip broke open a scorching heat wave. The phoenix blocked. Li Shishi spun around, rendering Su Xing's attack futile, but the fierce assault only just began. The dragon sparrow Duel saber's chi erupted, rolling over like a tidal wave. A chilling winter spring became an enormous bird that swooped down upon Li Shishi. The cold tore apart the air. Li Shirshi's wonderful hands and technique changed. The phoenix fans were held together. The beautifully began to spin. Her magnificent feathered robe started to flutter, each feather like a singing phoenix, and as Li Shishi spun where she was, she danced. Rays of light flooded out that intertwined with the dragon sparrow's baleful aura. Endless destruction. Endless nirvana. Endless harsh collisions. An indescribable sense of beauty practically captivated all of Su Xing's wives. If it was not for knowing this was Yan Yizhen's heaven-rank incarnation, Huang would have somewhat impatiently fired an arrow into this dance party. What did you mean just now by saying I lack destiny? Su Xing asked, using light smoke dance steps, blossoming the meditative mind lotus flower at the same time for protection. Is destiny not what is in Mr.'s hand? Li Shishi warmly replied. The scent of orchids assailed him. The phoenix fan stuck at Su Xing's vitals. Su Xing's expression chilled, and purple cloud east approaches emerged. The surroundings filled with purple chi, seemingly becoming his world. The purple star transforming chi's highest realm, purple cloud east approaches, could make purple clouds fill the world at any time. And in these purple clouds, Su Xing seemed to create a world that was a different sort of wonder when compared to Chao Wuhui's colored glass world. Ordinary people would be suppressed if they intruded into purple cloud east approaches. But Li Shishi ignored it. Purple cloud east approaches was completely unable to touch her clothes. Her dance subjugated purple cloud east approaches. This is her innate skill country ruination? Su Xing suddenly understood what Li Shirshi's innate skill country ruination was. Li Shishi grinned. She danced before Su Xing, her slender waist twisting. The phoenix fans in her hands pincered from above and below, assuming Feng seeks Huang. Beautiful flames leapt off her body. Subsequently, the girl's fans rushed towards Su Xing, like a pair of dexterous arms about to hug him. Although Su Xing resisted with all his might, he was still seized by the unstoppable fans. The beauty that could inflame all things was now in front of Su Xing. In Lin Yingmei and the others' eyes, the scene in front of them could be said to be filled with a suggestive atmosphere. Li Shishi joined her arms around Su Xing's shoulders as if embracing him, twisting her waist and raising her butt. Phoenixes danced around them, bringing Su Xing above the 9 firmaments, startling everyone. The experience was indescribably painful for Su Xing. Although Li Shishi danced as she embraced him, his entire body from head to toe had been restricted. His body was unable to refuse any one of Li Shirshi's movements. The beautiful flames nibbled at Su Xing's consciousness. A warm and soft feeling from the opponent's body made him unable to resist. You have the fortune to be the first man to accompany this girl for her earth dance. If you can keep up, Shishi shall inform you of destiny and the star duels. Li Shishi opened her full lips. She did not speak, but her voice was already transmitted into Su Xing's mind. The world dimmed its tenderness in the subsequent approach. Earth-rank dance Feng soars the skies, foresees seek Huang. 7 Worthies village. Feng Mojia slowly roused from her slumber. Your Highness, you slept somewhat long this time. Shi Xian and the others knelt deferentially before her. In comparing their manners, Shi Xian's tone was somewhat contrasting. What changes have occurred? Feng Mojia lowered her eyelids, a half-asleep, half-awake appearance. Your Highness, your vigor is not very good. Peng Shu tugged at her bow. The star duels are already approaching their end. They ought to reach Maiden Mountain within 2 months, but there is a problem. The girl wearing dark blue dragon-patterned robes while exposing her snow-white thighs stood up. Feng Mojia cast a calm glance. The charming young general of the Xianliang Shuda replied. I used Dragon Spirit to learn that there is a fiend star purple thunder monster in these star duels. The other star masters are very afraid of him. They have formed an alliance, so they will not reach Maiden Mountain before then. Rather, they will choose an unavoidable place to encircle and kill the purple thunder monster. Shall we take action or spectate? Of course we must take action. An internecine strife is boring. Your Highness, what do you say? Peng Shu stuck out her chest, offering to head out. But there is also another piece of information. There is a strange rumor saying anomalies have appeared in these star duels. Some are able to scale the peak without using a contract. This ought to be information that the purple thunder monster leaked in order to wedge apart the alliance. That there would be such a smart man, I want to meet him. The woman licked her lips. In the end, everything will be arranged according to your Highness. Feng Mojia pondered, then said in a low voice. Do you feel that if we allow these star masters to scale the mountain, perhaps that will change our tense relationship with the Empress? These words shocked the generals. Even the Deng Yuanjue, whose eyes were closed in rumination, opened them, showing astonishment. Your Highness, how is this possible? The Empress personally arranges the star duels between the star masters. They would only stand on the Empress side. But these 9th star duels are already abnormal. Even we were able to descend the mountain. Perhaps things will be different from what you think. Feng Mojia's tone was gentle. Even if we exterminated all the star masters here in Star World, we would still fall into an impasse with the Empress. This Highness is already a bit tired. The Feng Mojia, who loved to sleep somewhat, exhibited a weary tone for the first time. This startled the 4 generals. Your Highness, pardon my rudeness. Liangshan Continent's star masters are all short-sighted people. They are unworthy of your belief, let alone that their strength is unworthy of any of your trust. Leader of the 4 generals, Shi Xian, spoke. The others agreed. Is that so? Then we shall wait and see for the time being. Perhaps there will be a great difference in the result. Feng Mojia did not press the issue. Feng Mojia walked over to a waterfall in the bamboo grove, her beautiful feet bare as she gazed into the horizon. Shi Xian walked over. Are you asking what I saw in my dream? Feng Mojia did not let her initiate with her question. Yes. Why would your Highness suddenly trust those people of Liangshan Continent? Your Highness must know that they are merely puppets that the Empress has sought out. Even these star generals are merely true spirit puppets. Their destinies have long been controlled by the Empress' hand. Why does your Highness believe in them? Shi Xian narrowed her eyes, unconvinced. Songjiang's mandate of heaven has been awakened. The Major has emerged into this world. Can it be these do not signify a change in these star duels? The Major? Another of the Purple Thunder Monster's titles. Your Highness, you went to see that man? Although Shi Xian had already thought of this, she was a bit in disbelief. Feng Mojia did not answer. How can you believe in someone as ungrateful as a man? Your Highness, you must not be deceived by his silver tongue. Feeling these words were somewhat unbecoming, Shi Xian lowered her head. Shi Xian, this Highness is deeply aware, but too tired. Feng Mojia propped up her chin with her hands, her blue eyes calm as a dry well, like a placid lake. This Highness is somewhat weary of the lack of change. The Empress has been led astray by the 4 ministers. Perhaps a man with a silver tongue is precisely what is needed to go clear her vision. Saying this, Feng Mojia could not help but smile, as if she was imagining that to be a very interesting scene. With that man's responsible nature, this would indeed be very wonderful. She truly was a bit eager to see this. If your Highness feels weary, then please leave everything to this subordinate. Shi Xian's expression was grim. She suddenly knelt on the ground, a blade sticking into the ground with its bloody edge. The woman's expression was solemn. But please, your Highness, dismiss these notions. That man is not worthy of your expectations. Can it be that your highness is disappointed with this subordinate? If that is the case, please grant Shishi death. Feng Mojia sighed. You have accompanied me for tens of thousands of years. How can Mojia not understand your intentions? Fine, this highness speaks of this no further. It would be better for us to see just what virtue and capabilities he has. We shall discuss more in the future. Shishi nodded, her eyes slightly narrowing. No one could tell what she was thinking of. But Feng Mojia noticed Shishi's tightly clenched fists. That kind of killing intent was clear. If he can defeat you, then he ought to be able to persuade you. While she thought this, her heart was very conflicted. Liked it. Su Xing tenderly wiped the sweat from Ensuan's forehead. The girl's cheeks were crimson, her appearance gentle. Little sister, you've worked hard. Ensuan wore an empathetic smile. She shook her head, the light around her hands gradually receding. The child and mother linked heart's needles light circulated out of Su Xing's body and returned to the efficacious star's palm. The Su Xing currently cut a very sorry figure that required Ensuan to expend her power to heal him was all thanks to Li Shishi. Earth rank dance. Feng soars the skies for sees seek Huang. It could even be called breathtaking. That beautiful phoenix that flew beyond the topmost clouds made Su Xing nearly believe he would be taken out of this world. Recalling it now, he still had lingering trepidation. If it was not for Lin Mei's strong innate skill and self-improvement of martial arts, he honestly may have died to this dance. In the end, Su Xing used a 5 elements flying sword array for the first time. 5 elements sword array reverses yin and yang, to finally barely get through this. However, the price was not small. For the sake of having leftover energy to listen to Li Shishi speak of the Star Duel's secrets, Ensuan spared no effort in healing him. Big brother, you must ask clearly why we Star Duel. Ensuan softly commanded. Su Xing's gaze drifted to Li Shishi. The graceful and gorgeous woman's figure was already fading, an indication she was about to return to Star World. And the cost of using a heaven rank once was severe. The next time they met would probably be after several months. After several months. Everything would already have been over then. Su Xing pondered and walked over to Li Shishi. Lakeside. Cool breeze. Willows. A fascinating scene. Su Xing and Li Shishi slowly walked to the lakeside. Perhaps the splendid star-flying general liked to be bright, or perhaps she was solitary as Chai Ling suggested. In short, Su Xing wanted to know of Star World's secrets, and she did not want people other than him around. Not even Lin Mei and the others. Shouldn't you tell me now just what the relationship between Star World and the Star Duels is? Su Xing calmly inquired. Li Shishi stifled a smile. Can it be that Mr. does not like a stroll with Shishi? Su Xing helplessly said. Big sis, you're about to go back to Star World. Can you please stop with the playfulness? Please tell me about Star World and the Star Duels first. Then once I climb the peak, you can teach me however you want, okay? Li Shishi covered her cherry lips, thinly smiling. To be honest, to take a stroll with a beauty that truly could ruin a country was indeed a very delightful matter. Every movement and gesture of the splendid star was full of femininity, and that sort of entirely innate gentle sense of beauty. Just from her classical and graceful temperament was what Su Xing liked the most. But the Star Duels were nearing their end. Currently, Su Xing was worrying about the ins and outs of the Star Duels. How could he even have the frame of mind to bother about delight? Li Shishi slowed her elegant steps, her voice like a running brook, speaking steadily. Heaven has 9 layers, there are 3,000 worlds. Amongst these 3,000 worlds, the sky of one world is full of trillions of stars whether it be daylight or nighttime. As if enshrouded in the Milky Way. Legend says, these stars are the destinations of repute for the 3,000 worlds and 9 heavens. Destinations of repute? Su Xing felt this phrasing was relatively fresh, so he listened with rapt attention. The splendid star continued. The masters of these destinations can be homogeneous or quite varied from place to place. Some are brilliant in military service, some brimming with talent, some full of evil, and others the founders of immortal undertakings. Their reputations have been passed down. When this world gives birth to a girl, she can inherit this renown and even further develop it. Su Xing seemed to have a vague sense of scratching the surface, but there was something he did not understand. They have to be girls? They can't be boys? Hearing you speak of those reputes, shouldn't they be heroes and the like? They ought to be men. Only we women have the qualifications to produce these reputes. Li Shishir cutely looked at Su Xing. Why? Men and women are equal. Su Xing protested. Women can bear offspring. Can a man? Li Shishir's words left Su Xing speechless. This was actually not very equal. So wouldn't this be the reason for the feminization, right? Su Xing powerlessly said. Feminization. Li Shishir did not understand this vocabulary, meaning that star generals are girls. Su Xing said. So as to not allow all reputes in the 3,000 worlds to continue existing, those who inherit these stars are indeed called star maidens. Su Xing could tell from Li Shishir's proud and arrogant manner that the men in Star World apparently held very little status. However, this is only a legend in Star World. Whether it is true or not, no one knows. You're not making this up, right? And what does this have to do with the star duels? Su Xing saw that Li Shishir's figure was increasingly fading, and he grew a bit anxious. The story is quite long. Li Shishir played with a lock of her black hair beside her ear. She extended a hand and plucked a willow branch. Zhang Yuqi was currently swimming the backstroke in the lake, just like a snow-white mermaid. She gracefully drifted from wave to wave in the lake. Although she was absent-minded, her gaze nevertheless drifted to Su Xing from time to time. Our young Su really can flirt. Even a woman who has descended from Star World has personally come to his door. The damaged star's words made all of the girls very speechless. Little sis Yuqi, didn't you come to his door? Zhang Feiyu ruthlessly reminded her. Who let me see young Su and little sister Shi Yuan's nice show, so I could only devote myself to him. Hey, don't involve this young lady. Shi Yuan objected. While that side was in a hubbub, Liningmei, Wuxia, Wuxinjia, and the other girls were very grim. Your concubine sees that this Li Shishir seems to have advised that empress. Wuxia stared at that wandering figure, her brow slightly wrinkled. Just what is with Star World, to surprisingly send young lord an advisor? Wuxinjia ruminated. Is young master in danger? Liningmei did not dare be careless. We can be relieved about this. Li Shishir is little Yi's heaven rank incarnation. In other words, little Yi also knows. Wuxinjia shook her head. Just what are the secrets of these star duels? Hunyangzi's pupils were filled with hazy worry. She had no desire for her dear husband to be roped into star duels issues. The girls smiled. Right, did Shaking not comprehend the mystery of the star duels through Buddhism? What did you discover? Hua Wanyua pondered. The Lu Shaking, who was like a stone Buddha, faced the curious gazes of the sisters and shook her head. She was on the verge of breakthrough but did not understand in the end. Now I realize I am what I am, Gongsun Huang softly uttered. Sounds a bit ominous. Zhao Hanyan thought over the meaning of this verse. This time there was silence. Having gone through endless blabbering, Li Shishir finally spoke about the crux of the star duels. At the very beginning, Star World did not have many star generals at all. Legend says there were only 108 heavenly spirits and earthly fiends. Star World calls this the origin of star generals, and they were split into 3 ranks including earthly fiend and heavenly spirit. And the leader of these 108 stars is also a leader fully worthy of all of Star World's star generals. Legend says that the leader star has a destined star weapon, Justice on Heaven's Behalf Uprising Star's banner, that is capable of compelling a Star World star general into obedience. What rank is higher than the heavenly spirits and earthly fiends? Su Xing asked in surprise. The Emperor Stars. The legendary star of the Son of Heaven. Only a star general that can surpass the star name they inherited can possibly reach this realm. Across the entire Star World, star generals that are Emperor Star are as rare as phoenix feathers. This is also why the Empress commenced the star duels. Because the Empress has an enemy that others respectfully refer to as no matter the time, any place is home, Her Highness Feng La. She happens to be among Star World's Emperor star generals that can be counted on fingers. No matter the time, any place is home. Feng Mojia? Su Xing took a deep breath. He recalled that girl with dark blue eyes. Li Shishir did not know that Su Xing had seen Feng Mojia at all. She said, "She is one of the few people in Star World who reached Emperor Star Realm. We named her the Purple Slumber Star Dream in a Millennium. She has existed in Star World already for tens of thousands of years. She is but the oldest star general. However, most of the time, she likes to sleep. This is why she is able to live for so long." Li Shishir covered her smile. She was like one of those long-lived sea turtles. Dream in a millennium. Feng Mojia? Doesn't she sound really friendly? Su Xing was hesitant. This girl is not very clear about Her Highness Mojia. But the troops under her believe that the Feng Mojia that possesses the star of the Son of Heaven should inherit the great song, even rule all of Star World. For this reason, she has waged war with the great song for several thousand years. She has one subordinate named Shixian, nicknamed the Smiling Killing Immortal, who wields the Phoenix Splitter Saber, Star World's most terrifying destined weapon. This saber is said to be able to subdue and restrain true Phoenix Realm martial generals. True Phoenix Realm star generals are no match for her. So for the sake of confronting this Smiling Killing Immortal and Dream in a Millennium, we should think of borrowing Songjiang's star weapon? Precisely. But it can't be summoned directly. Why arrange the star duels? Su Xing still did not understand. This girl hears that Mr. wants to end the star duels. Then this girl shall tell Mr. how to end the star duels. Li Shishir softly said, profoundly staring at Su Xing. So long as Songjiang scales Maiden Mountain, the star duels will naturally end. But to make Songjiang's destined star weapon manifest will require another method entirely. What method? Mutual slaughter. Su Xing was unashamed. Even this girl does not dare go ask Her Majesty about this mystery. However, it is possible that this is the case. Li Shishir spoke then stopped. Clearly, she was hiding something. She stopped walking and cast a sidelong glance. This girl hears that you had some special sensations when you make love to your wives. How do you know? Su Xing's eyes widened. I am little Yi's incarnation. Everything she knows, Shishir naturally knows as well. Li Shishir matter-of-factly replied. I also wanted to ask you, what is the reason for that illusory feeling? Su Xing remembered the dream of golden millet line from Jiang Shushui, his heart somewhat anxious. The reason is very simple. With Mr.'s mind, there is no way you have not thought of it before. Li Shishir was about to reply when she suddenly wrinkled her brow. This girl should leave now. If you want to end the star duels, you must protect Songjiang's ascent up the mountain. Otherwise, even if you climb Maiden Mountain, you will be the same as the others. You will only become a puppet of the Empress. Only leader Star Songjiang can help you. Otherwise, your wish to end the star duels, your wish to help those wives of yours, is nothing but a dream of golden millet. Before she could finish, a resplendent light like a phoenix began to morph splendid Star Li Shishir. In a split second, she had already become little E. The maid was completely powerless. Su Xing stepped forward and gently caught Yan Yizhen. Master! Yan Yizhen's crimson, apathetic pupils could not stay open for long, leaking much regret. Su Xing kissed her forehead tenderly saying, Rest well this time, you should let me service you. Yan Yizhen's cheeks flushed, as if she was drunk, as if red clouds were flying across her face. She grunted and shut her eyes. She slept against Su Xing's chest with an unprecedented feeling of satisfaction. Liked it. Protect Song Qingxi's ascent up the mountain? Lin Yingmei, Wu Xinjia and the others could not help but be taken aback when they heard Su Xing's words. To end the star duels, they would have to fulfill leader star Song Qingxi's ascent. Although they had considered that the leader star who was the head of Maiden Mountain's 108 star maidens played a critical role, to hear the words Li Shishir brought still made everyone wrinkle their brows. Song Qingxi's contract was the uprising. To have her scale the peak, that very clearly indicated star masters who held other contracts would inevitably be unable to climb the mountain together. Does this not mean she would have Su Xing throw away his life to help that bitch achieve her wish? Zhao Hanyan pursed her lips into a disdainful sneer. Sir will not heed Li Shishir's words? Shiyu said. Gong Kaiwei also stared at Su Xing. Su Xing head ached as he rubbed his forehead. Ending the Star Duels was the greatest wish he had after joining the Star Duels, but hearing Li Shirshi's words truly made things difficult for him. If this was Earth, a soldier had one order they had absolute obedience for. They would not hesitate to sacrifice their own lives if it meant finishing the mission. But Su Xing looked at Lin Yingmei and the rest. Sacrificing himself signified the same for Lin Yingmei and the others. My lord, why pay mind to the splendid star's words? In the end, she is merely a lackey of Maiden Mountain's empress. Everything she does is only in service to that empress. What does she mean to say that it is necessary to have Song Qingxi climb the mountain? I will not believe these words. Hua Wanyua played with a lock of hair beside her ear, voicing her dissent. What Wanyua says is right. To end the Star Duels, we can only rely on ourselves. The leader star is not worthy of our trust. Wuxia agreed. The girls talked over each other, disdaining Li Shirshi's words. They could also see Su Xing's conflict, though they had to admit his conflicted appearance was a bit cute. In the end, everyone turned their gazes to Lin Yingmei, Su Xing's first wife. Among everyone, her opinion was evidently the most important. Young master's safety is more important than ending the Star Duels. Lin Yingmei emphatically said. Everyone was stunned. Immediately, they were unable to help but smile. Su Xing knowingly smiled. In my mind, your safety will always be first. Perhaps leader star Song Qingxi really is the critical link in the Star Duels, but maybe we can get the best of both worlds. Spotting that crafty glint in Su Xing's eyes, Lingyan Princess Zhao Hanyan felt she should offer a prayer for that Song Qingxi. For the time being, let us set aside this issue. Sisters, we must first discuss with young lord the final Star Duel. Knowledge star Wu Xinjie stood out. The final Star Duel. Do not forget, there is still another alliance besides Song Qingxi. Wu Xinjie pursed her lips. Chai Ling stroked Xinger, ruminating. This was within calculations. The other Star Masters would form an alliance to face Xinger. They will choose a place with topography that is optimal for obstructing him. And this place will be the nearest to Maiden Mountain. It will also be the only road there, vast terrain with nowhere to hide. One that can bring out their greatest advantage. That's right. Elder sister ought to know, right? And Suan softly asked. Wu Xinjie nodded. She snapped her fingers, and a map flew out. Knowledge Star pointed to a point and asserted. Barring accidents, Xinjie believes this will be the place they choose for the final Star Duel. Everyone looked at that place. Continuous like a dragon, coiling around Maiden Mountain. This place was one of Maiden Mountain's ancient battlegrounds. Leading right to Maiden Mountain's throat. This place was known as the Yu Plains. The Yu Plains? Monster-slaying alliance. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, Yin Wudao, and all the other Star Masters were currently discussing the place for their final expedition against the Purple Thunder Monster. Hearing scholar in a white robe Wang Lingji's words, they could not help but be shocked. The Yu Plains. It was no more than 100 li from Maiden Mountain. To Supervoid stage Star Masters like themselves, even 100 kilometers was not worth a mention, and it looked like this place was very unremarkable. The Yu Plains. Although this place is the only road to Maiden Mountain, we still have better options. Yen Wuao was the first to disagree with this decision. Others also disagreed. There was a saying, 800 li Maiden Mountain Lake. The vicinity of Maiden Mountain had many unique terrains. These terrains held all sorts of influences on Star Duels. For example, the Waiting Watch was enshrouded in moonlight and was able to maximize a cultivator's increase in cultivation, or lure swamp. Nicknamed the Coalesced Dragon Pools. Its waters were the ideal place for a water general. There were also Silkworm Apricot, Heavenly Ridge, Earthly Sincerity, and others places that all held important influence over a Star Duel. But this Yu Plains was a stretch of desert. It completely lacked any helpfulness towards a Star Master at all. This Holy Lord feels we should choose Lure Swamp. With Xiangfei standing guard, even Panther Head Lin Chong will die. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon looked fully confidently at River Dragon Li Xiangfei. Would Waiting Watch not be even better? This place can increase a cultivator's cultivation. Isn't the greatest advantage we have over the purple thunder monster our star masters? Although Lin Chong and Wu Song are formidable, without the purple thunder monster, they are merely toothless tigers, not worth a mention. Xie Chang'an smiled. Although the other star masters like Yan Wudao, Su Xingxiang, Gong Song, Xian Lao, Yi Futu, Xie Zhenyuan and more were silent, their expression were endorsing the choices of others. That the purple thunder monster had several of the great thousand-year martial generals already was very defiant of the natural order. They would necessarily have to maximize their own advantages to have a chance at winning. Wang Lingji drank tea. She faced everyone instead with great calmness. The greatest benefit of the Yu Plains is that it can draw out a star general's fighting blood, allow them to wield heaven rank. It turns out none of you knew. What? It can stimulate a heaven rank? Is this true? Humi was stunned. The other insipid star generals took great interest one after another after hearing Wang Lingji's words. In your past few months of training, how many of you have comprehended heaven rank? Wang Lingji smiled and asked. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. Among them Li Xiangfei, Huyan Shuang, Su Jingshu and others had former volume heavenly books, but comprehending heaven rank was still very difficult. Of course, others outside of them still tried as well. The Yu Plains are a battleground that can stimulate your heaven ranks. I presume I need not say more about heaven rank techniques. Compared to others, possessing this is the main point. Wang Lingji said. Furthermore, these grounds can also promote a star general's realm. But such a thing also applies to the purple thunder monster as well, correct? Yan Wudao wrinkled his brow. Featherless arrow Zhang Biluo agreed. Exactly. Perhaps there is some other mystery? Humi surmised. Wang Lingji gave her an approving glance. Correct. In order to display these effects, you must first consume something. That is, blood of dark yellow. Blood of dark yellow? Everyone was confused. They had never heard of such a thing. Only the Yu Plains have this. I can help you obtain them. All right, choose now amongst yourselves. Shall it be the Yu Plains or some other place? There will be only one opportunity in this final star duel. This Luan does not care if you choose wrong and lose your lives. Wang Lingji slowly drank tea. Let alone that everyone present were the ninth's proudest star masters. They still felt somewhat unsure facing off against that abnormal purple thunder monster. Scholar in a white robe Wang Lingji's identity was exceptional. Everyone was willing to believe in her, and she sounded apparently well. Should the purple thunder monster be unaware of this secret, then that will be a very great advantage to us. Xie Zhenyuan said insipidly. But when he spoke, Xie Zhenyuan looked at the woman, hoping that she could give him a confident reply. I dare say that the knowledge star will most definitely choose the Yu Plains because this place is the most suitable for an encirclement, but she absolutely will not be aware of the existence of the dark yellow blood. Wang Lingji slightly smiled. Before their skepticism, the woman's tone of voice gave no room for doubt. Because only I, Wang Luan, am capable of obtaining the dark yellow blood. When everyone heard her say this, they could only immediately agree. In truth, they could not think of a rationale to refute her. After all, for these past months of training, Wang Lingji indeed gave them significant aid. Their martial general's skills had improved by leaps and bounds, and many of them were reaching true Phoenix realm. After deciding the location, they arranged the time. Everyone began to set forth for Maiden Mountain. Because they surprisingly obtained such a significant advantage, everyone trained with even more effort than before, especially the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, whose heart was delighted when he felt he seemed to already see Su Xing's expression of despair. But not everyone was like this. Humi stood atop a hill, arranging a divination array. The purple firmament immortal palace had astrological arts. Although they were not able to pry into heavenly mysteries, they at least could give a vague premonition. This time, Humi obtained a very ill feeling of foreboding. She turned her head back to see that they were already nearing the front of Maiden Mountain, and her heart was somewhat uneasy. Little me? This star duel apparently will not be so simple. Facing Su Jingshu's worried gaze, Humi shook her head. Su Xing's true enemy does not seem to be us. Not us. Then who else? Maiden Mountain? Su Jingshu asked. Humi was not clear on this. The indistinct sound of footsteps intruded. Humi waved her hand, and the formation on the ground returned to her bag. A charming woman in black and red appeared. Elder sister Humi, just now were you divining the star duel? The newcomer was none other than Su Xingxiang. Regarding this girl who was charming down to her very bones, Humi did not dare be careless. In fact, not long before, the Su Xingxiang whose aptitude had been unremarkable already reached supervoid middle stage / her star general demon face was also quite exceptional. If I could divine it, what need have I to join this alliance? Humi smiled and retorted. Su Xingxiang smiled back. She lowered her head to look at the battle down the mountain and softly said, Actually, elder sister is like Xingxiang. We have reckoned wrongly in these star duels, haven't we? And Su Xingxiang said, Though we may have Wang Luan's aid as well as the fortune of the Yu Plains, only you and I are acutely aware that not only does the Purple Thunder Monster have first-rate martial generals the likes of Lin Chong, Wu Song, and Lu Junyi, he also has top-notch star masters like Zhao Hanyan, Gong Kaiwei, and Shiyu accompanying him. They serve him as his wives. On the other hand, our alliance is merely a sheet of loose sand. Every person has their own secret agenda. Judging by Su Xingxiang's words, why not join the Purple Thunder Monster's side then? Humi asked back. Su Xingxiang forced a smile. Those women able to follow the Purple Thunder Monster's side are all his confidants. I have that 10,000 souls parasol. In his mind, I am perhaps an irredeemable villain. Elder sister, is it not precisely because you have misgivings about Su Xing's lady friends that you stood on our side? Su Xingxiang saw through Humi's hesitance at a glance. Indeed, to be honest, Humi and Su Xing had contact before. She was even able to enter the Bright Moon Longevity Palace. To speak of favorability, Su Xing had much more compared to her current allies. But those who stood with Su Xing were all entirely without exception his closest friends. Fox of voracious admiration, Humi was also a very prideful person. Naturally, she was unwilling to bow down. And in her heart, there was also another urge, which was to compare her level against Su Xing's wives. However, she had never once thought of themselves as enemies. In fact, Humi felt that to climb the mountain together with him would definitely be a very wonderful scene. But now that things have reached this stage, there was already no room to turn back. In truth, Xingxiang also feels that the Purple Thunder Monster's wish to end the star duels is very attractive. Xingxiang wants to follow him, too. But it is a pity that Xingxiang met that good-for-nothing first before ever making his acquaintance. What use is there in speaking these words now? Even if he climbs the mountain, there is only one opening for the Overlord. Humi was unmoved. Elder sister is wrong. According to the Purple Thunder Monster's words, we will not be fighting to be Overlord once we climb the mountain. Rather, we will be facing the enemy who created the star duels, right? Su Xingxiang slightly smiled. Su Xingxiang, just what do you want to say? Humi furrowed her brow. What little sister wants to say is, there is no need for us to fight the Purple Thunder Monster to the death. There is another way to turn foe into friend, to allow us to become his arms. Ending the star duels, is this not the wish of our star generals? Su Xingxiang's words immediately became indistinct. Liked it. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon opened his eyes from self-cultivation. The young girl beside him dressed in black armor, Demon King of Chaos Fan Ming, eyed him nervously. Master, what is the matter? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon smiled and nodded. Black chi hovered all around his body, extremely reserved. All thanks to your demonic comprehension innate skill, Ming'er, the prehistoric heavenly demon body has finally advanced. In the future against the Purple Thunder Monster, this Holy Lord stands a better chance. Holy Lord, do not be underestimate him. Li Xiangfei shook her head. To the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon that had already suffered several defeats, this was considered understanding through experience. Where is Su Xingxiang? She has spent the past several days sneaking around discussing something with other Star Masters. Fan Ming's expression was one of disdain. This Holy Lord should have killed this bitch back then. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's eyes were full of coldness. As the Grand Number 1 Star Master of the Black Turtle Territory, A woman had nevertheless been overtaken by a woman. That idiot old monster Dark Rebirth must have given this slut many favors. Li Xiangfei sighed almost inaudibly, unclear as to whether this was disappointment or some other reason. As if she was waiting for this moment, Su Xingxiang daintily walked over from Yan Wudao. Upon seeing the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon, she put on a charming smile. Congratulations, Lord Husband. Presumably, the prehistoric heavenly demon body has already advanced. Haha, wife Xingxiang is truly modest. This Holy Lord has heard you have gotten along well with other star masters these past few days? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon switched to an insincere smile. Su Xingxiang covered her lips, smiling and saying, "Many thanks to Lord Husband. The Star Duel's decisive battle is at hand." Xingxiang merely discussed escape routes with them, nothing more. Escape routes? Not only the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. Even Li Xiangfei and Fan Ming showed puzzled expression. Xingxiang was merely thinking that since the Purple Thunder monster has used the pretext of ending the star duels to secure Lin Chong and those other first-rate star generals, perhaps we can ally with him and climb the mountain together? However, there would be prerequisites. It is easy to say we can kill that Su Xing in the final star duel. But if we are defeated, he may spare our lives out of consideration for the star general's sisters. Presumably he is enemies with Maiden Mountain. Maybe we can lend him a hand. Su Xingxiang, are you insane? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon looked at this woman in astonishment. She was surprisingly thinking of having the Purple Thunder monster show them mercy. Let alone this standpoint, the Purple Thunder monster would never let them go for a wish as trifling as ending the star duels. Lord Husband, do not be angry. This is only Xingxiang's wishful thinking. When the time comes, we must still see what Su Xing thinks. Su Xingxiang said. Su Xing this, Su Xing that. That man's name sounds so smooth coming from your lips. You would not happen to be having cold feet and thinking of betraying us, would you? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon stared fixedly at her. Lord Husband is being too cautious. In short, bringing such an idea up does not harm us at all. Is that not the case? Su Xingxiang said. What she says makes some sense. Li Xiangfei muttered. Although this appeared beyond preposterous, with Lin Chong and Wu Song's imposing personalities, perhaps they actually were ending the star duels, and were willing to make allies to climb the mountain together. The Seven Stars Assembly has only 7 openings. They truly would have no use for star duels. Fan Ming scoffed. What do the others think? Li Xiangfei asked. Yan Wudao and the others do not trust the Purple Thunder monster either, but that will not stop them from using him to curb the righteousness of the Panther Head and company. Su Xingxiang said. And, Lord Husband, your thoughts? Su Xingxiang softly asked. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon really wanted to rage at the heavens, dash the mountains, scream the disdainful words, Su Xing must die. But when these words were on the tip of his tongue, in the end, he found that he did not even have the breath for this. Damn it. If that Purple Thunder monster manages to climb the mountain, he would definitely ally with Maiden Mountain. As he thought of this, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon snorted. A cold glint flashed across his eyes, keeping silent. A small smile flit across Su Xingxiang's lips. Time flit by as they trained, instantly passing. Several months' time elapsed in the blink of an eye. Under the call of the star duels, Su Xing, Gong Kaiwei, Zhao Hanyan, Shiyu, and the others already entered the range of Maiden Mountain's legendary 8 million Li Maiden Mountain Lake. They passed from the ink earth stuck in eternal night to the waiting watch, filled with moonlight. They crossed various obstacles in the marsh. Wherever Su Xing passed, so too did Purple Cloud East approaches, like an immortal arriving. Along the way, both commoners and cultivators alike stared dumbstruck. The 8 million Li Maiden Mountain Lake appeared seemed very large. To cross it would take several dozen days' time. On this night, Su Xing had already crossed the coalesced dragon pools. They stopped when the distance to the Yu Plains was half a day. Tonight, let's rest here. Su Xing saw that the environment of this coalesced dragon pool was of limitless beauty, clear moonlight, dark blue waters. Innumerable fireflies fluttered over the surface of the lake, appearing quite idyllic. Things really turned out as Xinjie anticipated. It appears those Star Masters are truly preparing to fight a decisive battle at the Yu Plains. Zhao Hanyan brushed her sleeve. The coalesced dragon pools were the last bodies of water in the vicinity of Maiden Mountain. If River Dragon Li Xiangfei was present, she would have the qualifications to battle Lin Yingmei, but things appeared very tranquil. It appeared that the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon had also abandoned this advantageous terrain. We cannot be careless, Gong Kaiwei said. Zhu Sha knew intuitively her intent. She summoned the 5 elements weather banner. Young Su, me and Big Sis will go take a look around for now. Zhang Yuqi smiled and said, be careful. Su Xing ordered. Zhang Yuqi winked. She brought White Wave and Dove into the lake. Boatman Zhang Feiyu also spurred her burning whale to submerge beneath the water. To a water general, they were still the most free in the water. Speaking of Xinjia, why does she feel they will fight the decisive battle at the Yu Plains? Zhao Hanyan asked. This place is the closest to Maiden Mountain. Its terrain is wide open, and reportedly, it is an ancient battlefield. Perhaps there is no other place better suited than this. Is that so? Zhao Hanyan nodded. Su Xing said. Xinjia telling Mei Xiao and the others in a moment. There will be no more sparring tonight. Conserve their strength and rest properly to meet tomorrow's final star duel. Young lord, do you not want a big party with no coverings tonight? This is but the last chance before climbing the mountain. Wu Xinjia giggled. Sure, this princess has no issue. It may be assumed that darling will be very happy. Kaiwei, join in, would you? Zhao Hanyan teased Gong Kaiwei. The woman in clothes whiter than snow wrinkled her brow. She turned and left. The immortal hero princess is angry. Prince consort, you must quickly take her into your harem. After we ascend the mountain, there will not be such a good chance. Dong Junqing fanned the flames. Rest well tonight, everyone. Save your strength. Su Xing said. Seeing Su Xing so deadpan, Dong Junqing quite insipidly twitched her lips. That mob is completely not worth worrying over. I'm not worried about this. Su Xing shook his head. Maiden Mountain? Zhao Hanyan discerned his preoccupation. Chao Gai made Ban Zwang train my martial arts, and she allowed me to enter the dark yellow pagoda to break through to transforming star of annihilation realm. That she did this must mean there is a very powerful enemy. Otherwise, she wouldn't go through all this trouble. Su Xing spoke of past events. The closer they drew to Maiden Mountain's center, the more uneasy he became. The true face of the heaven-supporting pillar was already before his eyes. Looking from this place, the magnificence he saw would only make a person feel minuscule to the point they felt powerless. Su Xing's heart had never been so anxious. Zhao Hanyan held Su Xing's hand, gazing at him with eyes full of love. Sensing her intentions, Su Xing slowly calmed down. Just at this moment, there was suddenly a kind of sublime song came over. This sound was pleasant to listen to, but before he could ponder upon it, an enormous explosion broke it off. Then a water dragon soared into the sky, followed by a heavenly sword of water descending from the sky. The sword pierced through the water dragon, and the powerful destructive force directly split apart the tranquil waters of the coalesced dragon pools. The fishes in the lake hopped out one after another. That's Yuqi's heavenly sword. Su Xing was astonished. Is that blowjob girl stirring up trouble? This general shall go take a look. Dong Junqing activated her true phoenix realm without another word, rushing over in that direction. Yingmei Xiao, you two stand guard here. Watch for surprise attacks. Su Xing turned back to remind the alarmed girls. Nyangzi, Hanyan and I will go look first. Young master, be careful. Lin Yingmei urged. You girls too. Su Xing hinted to Hunyangzi. Thereupon, they used an escape technique with Bright Star 10 feet of blue following close behind. That seemed to be River Dragon Li Xiangfei's technique just now. As expected, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon is not so willing to let go of these advantageous grounds to conduct a sneak attack. Along the way, Zhao Hanyan spoke. He is courting death. Su Xing sneered. But things were not exactly as Su Xing had thought. The Crystal Dragon Palace's legendary 7th princess. This Holy Lord truly did not expect to meet you here. Right at this moment, a corner of the coalesced dragon pools. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was full of excitement as he looked down on a young woman. It has been too long since he last tasted this feeling of towering above others. As Su Xing expected, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon indeed did not let go of the maritime terrain of the coalesced dragon pools. If the top-notch water general Li Xiangfei could fight upon the coalesced dragon pools, there was no doubt she would be like a tiger that grew wings. However, he was also very aware that facing Su Xing was the sleep talk of trash. Still, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon nevertheless wanted to see if he could first sneak attack a few of Su Xing's isolated star generals at the coalesced dragon pools, to first kill a few. However, before Su Xing could arrive, he surprisingly bumped into another star master. This was Long Nu. Long Nu did not attend the monster-slaying conference at all. In the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's eyes, this was tantamount to standing on Su Xing's side. Upon spotting her surprisingly rushing towards Maiden Mountain alone, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon would not let go of such a heaven-sent opportunity. Without another word, he had Li Xiangfei and Fan Ming launch an attack. The results of the battle were obvious. Although Guardian of Three Mountains Huang Mingrui was one of the earthly star's four heavenly kinds, her opponent was nevertheless Li Xiangfei upon a naval battlefield. Huang Mingrui staked everything to use her Earth rank, Three Mountains Broken Seal Sword Array, and finally even charging her Heaven rank, Luotian Mountain and Lake Singing. But she was too late to activate it when Li Xiangfei's Earth rank Fury of the Ocean heavily injured her. Upon the water, you have no choice but to give up here, Li Xiangfei said in a low voice. Long Nu panted. Fan Ming's attack made her unbearably exhausted, and her whole body was covered in cuts and bruises. Only be relying on her last piece of willpower, did she not fall over. She was very aware of the bad end that would result if she fell. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon chuckled. What, did that purple thunder monster get bored of playing with you and toss you away? Truly pitiful. Holy Lord, do not waste your breath. Kill her first. Fan Ming raised her devil claws. Kill her then. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon nodded, his expression suddenly cold beyond comparison. The 9 phantasms Tenbane's capital demon swords manifested demonic clouds. Li Xiangfei stirred her white dragon sword, turning the coalesced dragon pool. The lake water rumbled, mercilessly battering Huang Mingrui and Long Nu. Fan Ming's devil chi approached, prepared to strike the finishing blow. Forgive me, Mingrui. Long Nu expressed her regret. Because she was selfish, she did not form an alliance with anyone, leading to this situation. Not at all. To have had Long Nu as Mingrui's master was truly fortunate. Huang Mingrui smiled, gripping her sword. She cast a glance back at her. Those eyes as clear as water were filled with distress. But Mingrui was unable to protect you. Her long hair flapping, the girl shouted and charged. The devil claws scratched. Flying waterfall dragon cry swords swept out, their sword lights like water, piercing through the devil chi. Fan Ming was astonished, not expecting that her martial arts would surprisingly still be at such a level despite her heavy injuries. Several cuts immediately appeared on her own body. A deathbed struggle. Demon King of Chaos flung Huang Mingrui onto the ground. Just as the Demon King of Chaos was about to end her life, all of a sudden, an enormous sword of water fell from the heavens. Look out! Li Xiangfei raised her white dragon sword, blocking the heavenly sword. This is, Huang Mingrui looked. A white python like a lion leapt before them. Then, a beauty emerged from the water like a mermaid, her snow-white skin in the night more beautiful than moonlight. Damaged star Zhang Yuqi. Huang Mingrui's heart was suddenly flooded with an indescribable tranquility. Finally, she glanced at Long Nu and subsequently fell into the star nest. Liked it. White silk 10,000 ren breaks blue nether. Li Xiangfei's hands spread out, and the white night dragon carving sword stopped. The entire coalesced dragon pools immediately roared. Countless water dragons soared into the sky, innumerable, stretching as far as the eye could see. Under the moonlight, each water dragon glinted with a crystalline luster. 10,000 water dragons arose together, shaking the entire night. Even though she came from the Crystal Dragon Palace, The Long Nu, who had beheld countless wonders in the water, was stunned upon seeing this scene. If this heaven rank had been used in the Crystal Dragon Palace, even the connecting heaven-ocean settling pearls barrier would have been unable to protect the Dragon Palace. So impressive. Zhao Hanyan inhaled sharply. Truly worthy of a first-rate heaven rank used upon the water. No wonder Li Xiangfei dared to declare she would destroy everything just now. She truly was serious. Prince Consort, do not goof off too badly. Dong Junqing muttered. She immediately escorted Zhao Hanyan and the others far away to avoid being caught up. Li Xiangfei placed all of her mind onto Su Xing. She pointed a jade finger at him. The 10,000 water dragons in the moonlight immediately dove downwards, swooping towards Su Xing like sharp blades. They brandished Feng and claw, full of aggression. The Su Xing caught in the center of the water dragons was practically suppressed to the point he could not draw breath. If it was not for his being at transforming star of annihilation, perhaps he honestly would have been unable to resist. Go! Su Xing's divine intent moved. Heaven-tearing Langia, Frost Powder, Jian Feather, and Time Immemorial drew 5 rainbows. Then he blossomed the meditative mind lotus flower, and used purple cloud east approaches. The 10,000 water dragons that filled the skies flung themselves towards Su Xing. 5 swordlights twisted, shredding the incoming water dragons. Then came the second water dragon, the third, the fourth, fifth, 100, all the way to the 10,000s. More and more came, finally forming a torrential downpour that struck at Su Xing. The 5 elements swordlights continuously disintegrated all incoming attacks under Su Xing's powerful divine intent. The innumerable water dragons exploded in Su Xing's surroundings like rain. The heavenly spirits, earthly fiends, purple star 5 elements, flying swords, rainbow lights were glittering to the extreme, but Li Xiangfei's heaven rank was already exhausting her strength. Even the most powerful flying swords could not possibly counter her perfectly. Li Xiangfei's eyes were determined, bright as lightning. Be careful. The feeble Long Nu could not help but call out in concern for Su Xing. The water dragons that were filling the sky soared high, even concealing the heavens. The moonlight dimmed and lost its color. Immediately, they all descended at the same time. An instant later, millions of water dragons attacked Su Xing. The edges of the flying swords were drowned out under these tidal waves. Water dragons collided, and the only thing audible was a heaven-shaking reverberation. All of the coalesced dragon pools trembled. Even villages a million li away could clearly feel this quaking. An ear-splitting noise was about to rupture their eardrums. Even Zhao Hanyan felt very uncomfortable. She and Su Xing shared the 1,000-year contract. Even though she was already very far away from the range of Li Xiangfei's heaven rank, she still felt unable to breathe. Dear husband. Hunyangzi was just about to kill the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. But upon seeing Li Xiangfei's heaven rank swallow Su Xing, her heart was filled with incomparable worry. Her figure warped. The 7-star double sabers released multicolored lights. Saber-chi rolled across the coalesced dragon pools like a storm, shredding the water dragons. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon also urged on the Boundless Bell with all his power. He attempted to use the Boundless Bell to break Su Xing's purple cloud east approaches and the 5 elements flying swords abilities. Waves wildly crashed, and knells lingered. A wretched sight was upon the water, spine-chilling. A long while afterwards, the water dragons finally dissipated one after another. The coalesced dragon pools regained their tranquility. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's eyes widened, staring in Su Xing's direction. He waited for the mist to part, which revealed an upright figure that immediately made him sink to the valley floor. Su Xing wiped the blood at the corner of his mouth, blossoming with a wide grin. 50 flying swords hovered above his head. Although the struggle against the heaven rank was very difficult, their lights did not diminish. Purple cloud east approaches was already washed away by the mist, and the meditative mind lotus flower was half wilted. Even so, Su Xing still relied on his immense strength to endure the river dragon's top-notch heaven rank. No way. Li Xiangfei was utterly speechless. She had already used all of her power to wield her heaven rank at its maximum. Even the Devil Star Palace would have been destroyed. But Su Xing's cultivation was excellent. Each of his powers were wondrous to the peak, And with the true phoenix and 7-star destined weapon Hunyangzi for protection, killing Su Xing was simply impossible. Su Xing took a deep breath. His figure warped. Arriving in front of Li Xiangfei, the white knight dragon carving sword she thrust at him was stopped by the 5 elements flying swords. The noble woman stared at Su Xing like this, not fleeing nor attacking. The two of them stared into each other's eyes. How regretful, Su Xing said, unclear as to whether he regretting that Li Xiangfei's heaven rank was unable to kill him, or if he was regretting that he was unable to meet and sign a contract with her before to turn her into one of his own. There is nothing to regret, Li Xiangfei calmly replied. Su Xing nodded. He extended a finger and tapped the woman's spotlessly white forehead. Purple clouds entered Li Xiangfei's body through his finger. The river dragon did not resist. She shut her eyes at peace. Xiangfei! The holy lord of draconic demons screamed. Li Xiangfei groaned, falling into the star nest. I'm impossible. The holy lord of draconic demon was hysterical, unable to accept the reality in front of him. Li Xiangfei had used her heaven rank upon the water battlefield. She was most confident and yet was surprisingly unable to kill Su Xing. In the end she was slain by Su Xing. Just what realm had this monster reached? Purple Thunder Monster. Tomorrow's star duel will be your doom. This holy lord will definitely take revenge for Xiangfei. The holy lord of draconic demon turned and fled. The instant he turned around, a whistling 10,000 li god-killing arrow was fired from the bright moon longevity palace 1,000 li away. The resplendent arrow light shot into the holy lord of draconic demon's chest. The holy lord of draconic demon screamed, nearly dying. Fortunately for him, his prehistoric heavenly demon body had already reached the peak. Even the true phoenix realm Hua Wanyue's dark rank was unable to kill him. How could Hunyangzi let him escape? The girl leapt high into the air, light as faint mist. True phoenix wings unfurled from the bright star's back. Hunyangzi caught up to the holy lord of draconic demon in a split second. The 7-star double sabers descended. The holy lord of draconic demon had no way to escape this time. But just at this moment, Su Xingxiang finally rushed over, crying out in panic upon seeing this scene. Lord husband, use the yin yang strange qi. Her hands formed a hand seal. The holy lord of draconic demon coordinated, activating his at the same time. A ray of yang qi emerged from the holy lord of draconic demon's cranium. Simultaneously, a ray on yin qi flew out from Su Xingxiang's cranium. These two yin and yang qi twisted in midair and entangled Hunyangzi. This yin-yang strange qi was a cultivation method a man and woman cultivated together. By exhausting all essence qi to create its form, it would harmonize heaven and earth, yin and yang to form a blade. This was very troublesome to handle. Hunyangzi's double sabers danced, unable to cut down the combined yin-yang strange qi for the time being. Hua Wanyue again fired several more arrows from the bright moon longevity palace. Similarly, she was unable to break apart the yin-yang strange qi's formation. If it is possible, Shengxiang would very much like to climb Maiden Mountain and end these star duels together with your distinguished self Su Xing. Su Xingxiang slightly smiled. She grabbed the holy lord of draconic demon and departed. In the end she cast a glance at Su Xing, but it was unclear what she was thinking of. Su Xing followed the woman's departure with his eyes, his brow wrinkling ever so slightly. Young lord, what has happened? Wu Xinjie and the others finally rushed over. They were terribly frightened when they witnessed the spectacle of the 10,000 dragons. She had thought the monster-slaying alliance had launched a sneak attack. I just bumped into Li Xiangfei a moment ago. Su Xing indicated there was no issue. We had better let little sister Suan examine you. You just faced the river dragon's heaven rank, Zhao Hanyan said with concern. And Suan stepped forward and checked. Fortunately, his wounds were not very severe, but his meridians were still jolted quite badly. The average person would probably have been fragmented. A pity that we let that holy lord of draconic demon escape. Dong Junqing was somewhat upset. She was unable to intervene just then. Ha ha, he truly is the cockroach that cannot be caught. Zhao Hanyan chuckled. Yuqi feels we should return for now. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demons star generals have fallen into the star nest. To recover to peak status is unlikely without half a year's time. A star master without star generals is basically no threat. Young Su actually must return first to properly console the elder sisters. Zhang Yuqi dubiously said. What about her? Zhang Feiyu looked at the forgotten Long Nu, the blazing fish king saber in her hand stirring restlessly. The heaven rank just now was too powerful. Zhao Hanyan had used her flying swords to shield Long Nu. Otherwise the girl perhaps would not have made it. Long Nu weakly looked at Su Xing, her eyes very calm. Even if Su Xing was to kill her right now, that would have been logical. She did not have any complaints. The legendary Crystal Dragon Palace's 7th princess has a fine heart, an upstanding character. This really is the case it seems. Su Xing, why not take her into the Longevity Palace as one of your own? Zhao Hanyan asked. Su Xing nodded. He had a relatively favorable impression about Long Nu, and was very clear about the girl's personality. Bring her back with us. Somewhere in the marsh, Su Xingxiang stopped. She looked at the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon with an arrow stuck in his heart, and wrinkled her brow. She scolded him in a low voice. Idiot, why are you always so short-sighted, to think of facing him alone? This defeat was more discouraging than any other time to the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. After all, this was established as a fair star duel, but this defeat was more wretched than any other time. Is this Holy Lord not still alive? That purple thunder monster does not seem so exceptional. After this Holy Lord recovers, this Holy Lord will definitely return today's humiliation 100-fold. Su Xingxiang's smile was somewhat ice-cold. Su Xingxiang, we must quickly duel cultivate. For tomorrow's star duel, this Holy Lord must have Xiangfei join the formation. This Holy Lord must recover right now. The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon hastily said to Su Xingxiang. The 10,000 god-killing arrow severed all of his meridians. To recover to a degree that could allow Li Xiangfei and Fan Ming enter battle, his only hope was only to dual cultivate. With the Yin Tang Strange Qi dual cultivation method, by borrowing Su Xingxiang's magic energy, he could recover. He would make Su Xing regret letting him off today. Hearing the phrase dual cultivation, Su Xingxiang showed a fleeting expression of derision. This stupid, arrogant man was vainly attempting to have her damage her own cultivation, just to help himself. Lord Husband is so short-sighted. Xinxiang feels that there is no more need for you to star duel. Su Xingxiang smiled fully, a ripple in her gaze. What are you doing? The Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's heart stopped. Suddenly he felt his neck chill. A pair of dexterous hands wrapped around his neck, and a demon mask revealed malice. It would be better to have Xingxiang bring Lord Husband's soul up and into Maiden Mountain. Su Xingxiang said coldly. There was a sharp crack. Before the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon could let out a scream, Du Yunxiang had already snapped his neck from behind. A crimson star fell into Su Xingxiang's chest. The girl then opened the 10,000 souls parasol and absorbed the corpse. Refining the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon granted Su Xingxiang's cultivation an enormous boon. A pity that I wasted the Yin Yang strange qi. Su Xingxiang turned her head back and gazed at the horizon, noticing there was no starfall. It appeared that Purple Thunder Monster did not kill that Long Nu. Had I known that I could become that Purple Thunder Monster's woman, your servant's star duels would not have been so onerous. Su Xingxiang thought idly as she walked alone on the lake, her parasol held open above her. Liked it. As expected, the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was killed anyways. Su Xing watched 2 crimson stars in the sky fall at the same time. It was obvious. Other than the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon who had contracted 2 stars, there could be no one else. That Su Xingxiang indeed did not let the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon go. However, he did not see the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's starfall last time. This was already very much outside of Su Xing's expectations. It seemed that Su Xingxiang had no way to bear the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon's self-destructive stupidity any longer. Because the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon was greedy for the advantage of an aquatic environment, he finally met a wretched end. As far as Su Xing was concerned, this was an unexpected gain. There was now one less formidable foe for the final star duel tomorrow. To Wang Luan's team, this was nevertheless a serious blow. The internal atmosphere of the alliance was frozen, depressed. This night passed with a nervous atmosphere. Bright and early the next morning, the sea of clouds billowed around the bright moon longevity palace, and the sun rose in the east. Su Xing walked through the corridors, discussing the impending star duel with Wuxia. Lin Yingmei tagged along, silently listening. Noble star Little Whirlwind Chai Ling at this time walked out from the moon-embracing pavilion. Linger, why not sleep a little longer? Su Xing knowingly smiled when he saw her. Chai Ling was taken aback. Perhaps because she felt that she was somewhat unpresentable, having only just woken up before she could groom herself, but she covered herself with her hands. Yet you are up very early. Have you finished discussing how you will star duel? You face more than a dozen star masters who are but itching to turn you into scattered ash. As long as we do not let them use their heaven ranks, there will be no issue. We actually want to talk about you, Wuxia said. This palace will become a burden to you? Chai Ling guessed what the knowledge star wanted to say. But it was no wonder. After all, this was the first star duel the noble star had ever joined. So Su Xing was a bit worried. Chai Ling also had the red ink iron certificate destined weapon. It was not hard to imagine that she would become everyone's target. This will be the first time that this palace will head into battle for a star duel. You must not get in this palace's way. Chai Ling beckoned, and the three-eyed wealth-inviting beast leapt into the girl's arms, snuggling into her bosom. This beast was quite pleased with Chai Ling's softness. Su Xing saw that he was unable to persuade her. He could only be a bit more attentive in that case, but with his current strength, this was not much to worry about. Passing through several corridors, Su Xing then saw the Gutong carrying Tang Tang. The proprietress had an expression of nervousness, excitement, and depression written all over her face. Gutong had never imagined that she would join the final star duel at the center of the Seven Stars Assembly, which left her a bit restless. But upon thinking of her sisters of the Spring Breeze Drunken Rain Pavilion, that agitation vanished like smoke. Although Su Xing deliberately avoided the topic of Song Qingxi, Gutong still could surmise that Su Xing and Song Qingxi's forms were as incompatible as fire and water. Papa! Tang Tang's clear call interrupted her worries. Bai Yutong stretched out her little arms and threw herself into Su Xing's embrace. Tang Tang, today, you're going to stay in the Longevity Palace with a few of your big sisters. Su Xing teased Bai Yutong's nose. Tang Tang blinked her bright large eyes and obediently nodded. Tonger, you'll have to take good care of Tang Tang today. Gutong nodded. She wanted to say something but hesitated. Carrying Tang Tang to the Longevity Palace's courtyard. It was at this time that the other wives had awakened as well. Even the meditating Lu Shaking was in solemn attendance. Seeing Su Xing appear, everyone showed smiles to welcome him. Each pair of clear and beautiful eyes were focused on him. The radiance of dawn draped the Longevity Palace in a gorgeous hue, illuminating each pair of knowing eyes. It made their smiles even more brilliant. Su Xing walked towards them. Along the way, Gongsun Huang leisurely landed on his shoulder. The gazes of all of the girls were fixed on Su Xing from start to finish. At the border of the Longevity Palace, Su Xing looked down upon the vast earth. The sea of clouds parted. He could already catch sight of a boundless desert of yellow sand. Heat waves leapt into his face, accompanied by his boiling blood. The star duels had finally reached their terminus. My beloved wives, please walk together with me to the very end. Su Xing turned his head and brightly smiled. He then leapt down into the clouds. Lin Yingmei followed without hesitation. Then Wuxia, Hua Wanyue, and the others resolutely descended from their altitude of 10 million li Zhao Hanyan, Gong Kaiwei, and Shiyu did not hesitate either. Their graceful figures immediately descended from the bright moon Longevity Palace. You plains. Scholar in a white robe Wang Lingji turned her head back to look at everyone spread out. Although the Holy Lord of Draconic Demons' starfall the other day was a serious blow to the monster-slaying alliance, this made everyone deeply aware of the Purple Thunder monster's cruelty. On the contrary, their unity could be considered a significant gain. Has everyone already consumed the dark yellow blood? This time, go all out to your heart's desire. Do not leave behind even a bit of regret. Wang Lingji coldly said. Everyone was silent. The other star generals already assumed a formation. The dark yellow blood is miraculous as expected. This time I will properly lecture Lin Chong. Huyan Shuang felt the dark yellow blood in her body. She only felt boiling under the U-plane's heat. An intense desire to fight broke out of her chest. Wang Lingji nodded in satisfaction. Although some of these star masters were stunning and peerless, it was a pity they still did not possess sufficient qualifications to face Lin Chong, Wu Song and Hua Rong. Wang Lingji recalled when she first met with Su Xing and Hua Wanyue in the double sevens. They gave her a lot of pressure, so she was well aware that this so-called monster-slaying alliance was only putting up one last struggle. No matter. These people were basically cannon fodder anyways. So long as they could stall the purple thunder monster, this would have been worth it. At that time, this would allow Song Qingxi to become the fisherman that took the snipe and clam. With that previous overlord present, even if Su Xing was any more abnormal, he would be helpless. Leader Star Song Qingxi. You must not disappoint me, Wang Luan. Just as she thought this, a whistle came from the sky. Everyone raised their heads, spotting a dozen figures descending from the heavens. Danger hit them in the face. Everyone stretched their bodies taut, assuming battle stances. In an instant, those figures landed before them, stopping as gracefully as feathers 100 meters away in this barren wasteland. The newcomer was an elegant and righteous man, extraordinarily imposing. Flanking him were absolute beauties of every description. This naturally was Su Xing. What a fine purple thunder monster. TSK, TSK, the people following you are surprisingly all beauties. Wang Luan clicked her tongue and laughed. Wang Luan. Hua Wanyue was speechless. Wang Lingji, you came out of the double sevens? Su Xing smiled. Not bad, not bad. You still remember this one's true name. With this alone, Lungji can let you die with some satisfaction. Wang Lungji grabbed her white jade long staff, propping it over her shoulders. Xinjie did not expect for even you to appear. Can it be said that Maiden Mountain is already at wit's end? Wu Xinjie curiously looked at this heavenly scholar star, guardian of the double sevens. She was dressed in a white muslin tunic. Her wonderful figure was vaguely visible, enchanting. With seeing clearly, Wu Xinjie discerned that she was true phoenix, around 5th or 6th stage. Compared to her original true phoenix stage from the double sevens, she was a level higher. If you want to know the answer, then see whether or not you can take my staff. Wang Luan smiled. Xinjie will not, but you can have Ying Mei. Wu Xinjie helplessly said. Lin Ying Mei stepped forth. It was only a single step, but her powerful aura was not reserved, practically suffocating everyone present. Each and every person changed expressions. This panther head was somewhat of an ill omen. Wang Lingji's smile froze. Do you really want to be enemies with me? Su Xing finally said. If it were possible, we actually would not want to be enemies with you. We also want to climb the mountain, and in the star duels together with you. However, you must unleash your abilities and defeat us in order to do so. Su Xingxiang said. The others did not say anything. Stupid imperial brother, you get over here this instant. Zhao Hanyan berated Zhao Heng. In the face of such a rebuke, Zhao Heng's expression was even more unsightly. This highness does not have an imperial sister stupid enough to have been deceived by the monster. As a star master, you surprisingly became the woman of another star master. You truly disgrace the Zhao imperial family. His Highness disdains to be associated with you. Suo Qingshuang coldly said. Zhao Hanyan narrowed her eyes. You need a good lecture. Dong Junqing smiled. Both sides stared at each other. At Sai time, the situation was already at the stage where a star duel was inevitable. Whether it was Su Xing or the monster-slaying alliance, both sides understood this. To be frank, I don't want to treat you as enemies. At the foot of Maiden Mountain are enemies that are even more formidable. They are who we should be facing off against. Su Xing shook his head, somewhat disappointed. What are you saying? Wang Lingji thought that Su Xing was speaking of Song Qingxi. Fearing his words would begin to arouse suspicion, she immediately declared. No more small talk. If you want to become the overlord, Then show us your power. Everyone, what are you waiting for? Scholar in a white robe swept her cold gaze over everyone. Prestige star double clubs Huyan Shuang, agile star featherless arrow Zhang Biluo, magnificent star wood dog of Well Hao Bingxin. The Xie twins and other star generals each manifested their star weapons. Xie Chang'an, Yin Wudao Yi Futu, Xian Lao, and all the rest of the star masters spurred on their cultivations, flying swords and abilities. The twinkling of sword lights filled the heavens, becoming a starry sky. Su Xing held nothing back when he saw this. He waved his hand, and his 60 immemorial flying swords flew out at the same time, unperturbed in the face of heaven-shaking killing intent. He only felt regretful, truly regretful. The final star duel had begun. Leader star protector of righteousness Song Qingxi had long already passed through the Yu Plains. Accompanying her were the dozen or so sisters of the uprising. Because Dai Xingyue went to Maiden Mountain first, but had not returned after so long, this made the others nervous somewhat. Thus they hustled without stopping. 1,000 li away, an enormous jolt came from the Yu Plains. It seemed to shake even Maiden Mountain, the pillar that supported the heavens. Song Qingxi stopped and turned her head back. That pair of bright and picturesque eyes were full of reluctance. It was not that she was reluctant to leave this Liangshan continent. If she could have climbed the mountain with Lord Su, perhaps ending the star duels would have been even further in her grasp. What a pity that, in the end, the two of them walked their separate ways. Elder sister? The purple thunder monster and those star masters will massacre one another. This is truly too good. Shi Jingluan struck her palm, her expression cold. It truly is a pity that we cannot go witness the battle. Ugly Prince Consort Xian Yunshang said. Right. I have never met that legendary purple thunder monster, who is able to contract Lin Chong and Wu Song. I still want to have Mingxi perform rites to help his evil soul find peace. Ding Wanjing innocently said. Shui Mingxi rolled her eyes. Thank heavens this monster did not make my soul find peace. Everyone smiled. Compared to that raging battle, their atmosphere was more relaxed. Be on your guard. Just at this moment, Sikyuchi's son Yueying suddenly changed expressions. The woman raised and twisted her 1,000 snowpiles and 10,000 clouds, shattering an arrow. Everyone was stunned. There was an enormous noise that seemed like the buzzing of bees. The fog was ripped apart. 100 light arrows were fired at them. They all combined their powers to defend. Just at this moment, a bell clearly rang in the mist. Ding. This is Xingyue's bell. Song Qingxi waved her hand, suddenly feeling something ominous. She hastily summoned the heavenly starbirth banner. Just at this moment, a figure rushed out. Sun Yueying was about to intercept but immediately ceased her attack when she saw the incoming individual. Speed star Dai Xingyue was drenched in blood as she staggered along. Several arrows stuck out of her chest. The girl's eyes were full of fear. Xingyue. Dai Xingyue. All of the sisters lost their composure. Elder sister, run away, hurry. Before Dai Xingyue could reach them, a bloodlight exploded upon her body. Song Qingxi's heavenly starbirth banner had only just unfurled when she was shocked to see Dai Xingyue's body turn into stardust. A crimson star fell. The speed star had fallen. The mist parted. Then four figures slowly walked out. An unprecedented feeling of terror, like a knife at their backs, firmly seized their bodies. A dispassionate, bloodthirsty voice then said, Song Jiang, your lot has finally come to die. Equals. The Monster-Slaying Alliance's monster-slaying plan was very clear-cut. Su Xing altogether had 14 star generals, with at least 8 of them possessing formidable combat strength. Add on the star masters Zhao Hanyan, Gong Kaiwei, and Shiyu that stood on his side, they had 20 altogether. The Monster-Slaying Alliance still had 24 even after the loss of the Holy Lord of Draconic Demon. From this perspective, the contrast was despairing. The Monster-Slaying Alliance formed from the Star Masters of the 4 territories amounted to a mere 3-person advantage over Su Xing, and nothing more. If they added the heavily injured Long Nu and noble star Chai Ling, even this tiny bit of an advantage would cease to exist. And among these 24 in the Monster-Slaying Alliance, Those that truly could pose a threat to Su Xing could be counted on fingers. So the aim of this battle against Su Xing was very clear. All star generals would stall Lin Yingmei, Wuxia, Hunyangzi Yin Yizhen, and Lu Shaking, isolating Su Xing. Then they would surround and attack him. Without his star generals for support, even if the purple thunder monster was any stronger, he could not possibly respond to their attacks. Plans were always beautiful. After Yan Wudao and the others summoned their flying swords, Su Xing also called forth his 60 flying swords. The heavenly spirit earthly fiend purple star 5 elements flying swords shocked everyone when they emerged. Heaven tearing Langia frost powder, Jian feather, and time immemorial executed a sword array that reversed the 5 elements. Heaven tearing cut through empty space while Langia became a forest around Su Xing. Their evil suppressing clear lights manifesting all sorts of warding abilities. Frost powder fell like snow, chilling to the bone. Jian feather gathered along Su Xing's back, forming wings that attacked any enemies that drew near. Finally, time immemorial was like an impregnable gate. Incoming flying swords merely produced sparks on impact. You have surprisingly completely forged this immemorial flying sword. Everyone was astounded. The materials for the 5 elements flying swords were all first-rate. Although he had the tool refinement master Tang Lianxin, this was possibly the first time such a thing was seen in several hundred years. Su Xing pointed. 1,000 purple clouds flew out. Nobody dared receive the attack directly once they saw this was purple cloud east approaches. They activated protective abilities in succession. All of a sudden, Su Xing heard a loud whoosh. He lifted his head to see a giant rock dive bombing him, its sharp talons scratching at Su Xing. The incoming immemorial flying sword and purple cloud east approaches were surprisingly all blown away by the rock. Die. Rock Demon King. Su Xing did not expect that the Rock Demon King, who was not even a Star Master, would participate in this battle. Seeing Lady Snake Scorpion was present, Su Xing was impressed with his devotion. His powerful Super Void Peak cultivation burst forth, making the other Star Masters with lower cultivation feel discomfort. But to Su Xing, the Rock Demon King's aggression posed no threat to him at all. He formed a hand seal and pushed. An enormous palm imprint struck the Rock Demon King. Su Xing's power was far stronger than the Rock Demon King's. This palm left the Rock Demon King heavily injured, but the Rock Demon King did not know when to give up. He staked his very life on taking Su Xing down. In the end, Hua Wanyue's 10,000 God-killing arrow ran through his heart, striking him down. Quickly use your magic weapons. Before Lady Snake Scorpion could howl in grief, she hastily shouted and used the Stars Falling Dragon Sword. Without her saying, Yan Wudao and the others did not hesitate to activate their strongest magic weapons for an all-out battle. The 6 Paths Plate, Mountains and Rivers as paintings, 7 Feathers Fan, All Things Bracelet, Boundless Bell, 5 Elements Ring, Black and White Dragon Corpse Bottle, and other weapons were used. In an instant, the U-planes were filled with multicolored lights as the magic weapons swarmed towards Su Xing. The lights filling the sky descended, leaving him nowhere to run. Su Xing shouted. Immediately, the U-planes filled with golden lotuses and Buddhist light. Against these top-notch magic weapons, Su Xing was not flustered. The 10,000 calamities chains emerged. The gigantic chains were as thick as anacondas, clattering out from empty space. Each of the incoming magic weapons collided with it. Upon seeing Devil Ancestor Dark Nether's magic weapon, everyone's expressions turned grim. The 10,000 calamities chain were forged with 10,000 heavenly calamities. Combined with Su Xing's supreme cultivation, this was sufficient to hold his own. This monster has some formidable tricks. Xie Chang'an drew in a deep breath. Even with the encirclement of several great Star Masters, regardless of their flying swords or magic weapons, surprisingly they did not present even the slightest threat. The purple thunder monsters might far surpass their imaginations. This was not as simple as being Super Void Peak. As if Xie Chang'an had foreseen this, he and the others including Yan Wudao and Xie Zhenyuan glanced at each other. Everyone rushed towards Su Xing, inscribed Circle of Confinement. 8 Legions of Naga and Deva Protection. Extreme Clarity Immortal Light. Stupa Blackened Flame. Su Xing watched their tumultuous momentum with a calm and composed expression. He formed a hand seal. Purple cloud east approaches spread in all directions, enveloping everything. Although Yan Wudao and the others' powers were considered brilliant, this purple cloud east approaches was refined to perfection by Su Xing. They were no match. Every kind of immortal light and flame were unable to harm Su Xing in the slightest. But their plan was far from finished. Xie Chang'an used the Six Patriarchs Platform Sutra, manifesting the Six Patriarchs Saraira. These Saraira were all refined by Buddhism's strongest Buddhist ancestors. Each Saraira was equivalent to a supervoid cultivator. Even Su Xing felt challenged by the six Saraira. So you're the one who killed the Buddha Kingdom's six patriarchs? Su Xing nodded. Xie Chang'an sneered. The six patriarchs Saraira attacked with full power, and with the 8 legions of Naga and Deval protection, he finally warded off purple cloud east approaches. Xian Lao. Yi Futu shouted. The expressionless stone woman coordinated with him, pointing her finger. The heaven-earth shears immediately flew forth. She had obtained these heaven-earth shears by killing Su Yixiao and Sikong Chuha. Although their coordination was far from being as perfect as the two girls, formidable force still burst forth now they were at the crux of life and death. The spiritual aura in the world settled, and Su Xing felt his body tighten. Su Xing coldly grinned and said, "Come on then." Saying this, the heaven-earth shears jolted, gleaming bright white as they twisted toward Su Xing's stomach. They pincered from the left and right, about to snip Su Xing apart straight through the middle like a pair of scissors. Su Xing pointed. The meditative mind lotus flower blossomed, shielding his body. His mind trembled, and he felt his whole body go numb. Indeed, these heaven-earth shears were formidable. Even the meditative mind lotus flower's protection was nearly broken. He did not know how these demonkin refined it, but the lotus flower's narrow absorption greatly lessened the pressure on Su Xing. The heaven-earth shears corkscrewed back. Lotus flowers descended with a whoosh, but in the end, the shears were unable to break Su Xing's cultivation. Possessing several true phoenix martial generals, his current strength was already unfathomable. He was unequaled in Liangshan continent. Even Yi Futu and Xian Lao's full power, heaven-earth shears were helpless. Only now did Yi Futu finally realize the aspect of the purple thunder monster that was truly terrifying. Su Xing pointed. His flying swords combined together, and a sword light struck down the heaven-earth shears. Then, the 10,000 calamities chains erupted with bolts of thunder. Combined with purple cloud east approaches, this truly closed the Yu plains off like a holy land, but the others' attacks were far from finished. Just when everyone had surrounded Su Xing, Xie Zhenyuan already broke through the encirclement and rushed over. Although Su Xing had once saw Xie Zhenyuan's impressive martial arts back at Three Clarities Field, he was far from presenting a threat. Su Xing felt this was strange, but he did not say anything. He surreptitiously turned his wrist over. Then he controlled heaven tearing. Sword light like a majestic golden dragon ran through the Yu plains twisting towards Xie Zhenyuan. Xie Zhenyuan shook the Three Clarities banner he had surprisingly obtained, spitting out 3 enormous green lotuses to contain it. Then he warped in front of Su Xing. Su Xing was about to kill Xie Zhenyuan, but just at this moment, Xie Zhenyuan's collar fell open, revealing a little loli that was quite close to Bai Yutong in age. Instinctively, Su Xing promptly drew back his hand. Oh! Xie Zhenyuan seized this chance. Ruolin, use your earth rank. The trembling Ho Ruolin heard his command, and immediately moved her little hands. The heavenly silkworm treasure silk and backlighting divine needles flew out forming a line. For her earth rank, boundless capture net. The sewing needle and silk thread shuttled back and forth through empty space, weaving a net, sealing Su Xing's escape path. You want to die? Su Xing's expression turned cold. We know that your cultivation defies natural order, purple thunder monster. However, the others never thought that even our combined efforts would be unable to phase you. But fortunately, Zhenyuan already knew this would happen. Xie Zhenyuan calmly said. His forehead then released white light, twinkling once more with a second star crest. This star crest moved, and the shape of a prison manifested behind him. Suddenly, a young woman walked out from behind the bars. This girl was dressed in a golden palace dress, possessing a dainty figure and an extraordinary beauty, particularly her blue pupils that were chilling to the bone and surging with killing intent. A second star general? Su Xing's brow rose. Luo Shui, kill him. Xie Zhenyuan had been waiting for precisely this moment. Everyone in the world knew that a star general was a paragon of violence. Even Liangshan continent's strongest cultivators would lack any chance of winning against a martial force star general in a direct confrontation. So this monster-slaying alliance's true aim was just for this moment. To completely obstruct all of Su Xing's star generals, then finally trap him with Ho Ruolin, and have the secure star kill Su Xing. In the past star duels, countless insufferably arrogant star masters harbored lingering grudges, due to being killed by star generals. Secure star Sik Guan Suoyang Luoshui also had the heavenly prison innate skill. Any person who approached her would be hindered and unable to easily break free, so long as he could allow Yang Luo appear when Lin Chong was not standing guard. Xie Zhenyuan believed the purple thunder monster would be dead without a doubt. When the secure star appears, that guillotine-like frost magnificence shining moon blade exploded with a formidable deterrent force. Although it was only 4-star, it was still stifling. Yang Luoshui entered the array, the frost magnificence shining blood cutting the purple clouds to pieces. Then she used dark technique 5 cuts corpse dismemberment. The current Yang Luoshui already had the powerful realm of True Phoenix 3rd stage. True Phoenix wings emerged from her back. Any ability would find it difficult to contend against her. 5 enormous chilling blade lights fell towards Su Xing's limbs and neck. The saber lights honestly were like rain. A harsh ripping sound resounded in their ears. To the side, Yan Wudao, Xie Chang'an and the others watched with fear and trepidation, not daring to underestimate Xie Zhenyuan. As expected of the number Azure Dragon Territory Star Master of their time, he indeed hid very profoundly. If it was not for Wang Luan appearing and instructing martial arts, perhaps this Yang Luo Shui would never have shown herself. However, it was precisely because she was present that she had instead become this monster-slaying alliance's key killing potential. The blade light dissipated. Yang Luoshui's smile immediately frozen. Her frost magnificence shining moon was surprisingly blocked. Secure star, I finally get to meet you. Su Xing breathed deeply. Enormous cuts were left on his body, dully aching, but compared to being dismembered, this was considered very light. His hand raised the purple brilliant reclining moonblade. The destined weapon of the brave star was only strong, never weak. You are surprisingly able to use a star weapon so quickly? Yang Luoshui was stunned. The girl's eyes revealed killing intent, immediately using another technique. Watch this. Frost magnificence shining moon descended. It clashed for several dozen bouts against the purple brilliant reclining moon. Su Xing was surprisingly very casual, not falling behind. Everyone felt only disbelief when they saw there was a star master that was surprisingly capable of fighting evenly with a true Phoenix martial general. This man was a monster. Could he be transforming star of annihilation? Yan Wudao's entire body chilled. Su Xingxiang was taken aback. Amazement flashed through her eyes, which she immediately concealed. We must quickly go help the secure star. Yi Futu shouted. Just at this moment, all of a sudden, everyone felt their heads sink and their bodies stagnate for an instant. By the time they raised their heads to look, all of their faces were ashen. Wu Xiao and the others were already flying over. In no time at all. Their star generals had all been completely wiped out. Liked it. Time rewinds to a moment ago. Elder sister Dai. The monster-slaying alliance's star generals rushed when they saw Su Xing's incoming star generals. They were numerous, promptly spreading out and seeking out their own targets. Even in death, they would stall for as much time as they could for their masters to fight Su Xing magnificent star. Hao Bingxin spotted the pilgrim Wu Song's waterfall-like black hair in an instant. The once defeated magnificent star immediately spouted flames from her eyes. She grit her teeth, dexterously raising her broadsword, the 5-star silver snow dragon abyss. Her star beast snowball was at her side, instantly augmenting her strength. She then entered True Phoenix 1st stage. Among the earthly stars, This realm could not be looked down upon. One absolute ice dust, then a white dragon leaving peak, and finally a white night desolation. The yellow, dark, and earth techniques were used in succession, their attack power violent. An ice-cold swordlight drifted over like a blizzard, directly launching towards Wuxia. Wuxia narrowed her eyes. Without batting an eye, she clenched her right hand, calling forth noble frost demonic lotus. The pilgrim's footwork danced about, meeting the snowstorm-like attack. The black lotus sword chi suddenly shot in all directions, blossoming flowers and unbroken swordlight. Your martial arts have improved markedly. Wuxia praised. The two clashed for close to 50 bouts. Hao Bingxin's massive sword was increasingly sluggish while Wuxia's was increasingly smooth and flowing, graceful and lithe. Snowball had been very quickly killed in the exchange. Hao Bingxin was forced back repeatedly, infuriating her. She activated her earth-rank sleeping frost-laying snow battle sword. The girl seemed to enter a dream state. Her swordsmanship turned erratic, swinging her immense sword as if it was light as a feather, leaving every sort of sharp trajectory. The dark yellow blood surged in her body. Hao Bingxin only felt that she was even closer to heaven rank. Wuxia's pupils contracted. The pilgrim hastily withdrew, suddenly separated her double swords, attacking from the left and right. Hao Bingxin charged forward, directly attacking Wuxia. The cool and elegant pilgrim somersaulted, landing on top of the massive sword, displaying ice-cold footwork. Hao Bingxin heaved, swinging her sword. Swordlight ripped apart the surrounding area, but the pilgrim leapt high up, stepping past the girl's soft shoulder, forcing Hao Bingxin to a knee. The magnificent star immediately reacted, swinging her sword back towards Wuxia's torso. Among the earthly stars, her martial arts were already considered to be skillful and excellent, her progress rapid, but it was a pity that she was nevertheless against the 1,000-year martial general Wu Song. Just as the monster-slaying alliance had a clear plan to isolate Su Xing, Wu Xinjie similarly had her own plan. This was to not allow any of them to use their heaven ranks. The only thing in the monster-slaying alliance that actually posed a threat to Su Xing was a heaven rank. Wu Xinjie would not allow this to occur. The best solution was to swiftly conclude the battles. Hao Bingxin rose up powerlessly, lifting her head to gaze at her elder sister's figure, feeling only awe. That hair that reached past the waist obscured her line of sight. The black and white sword stabbed forth from within. Hao Bingxin was already too late to retreat. She looked on helplessly as Wuxia's noble frost demonic lotus blossomed against her chest. How can this? Hao Bingxin staggered. Wuxia halted, gazing at her. That warm gaze made Hao Bingxin's heart throb incessantly. In the end, the magnificent star did not use her heaven rank, falling into the star nest with a grievance. Stupid imperial brother, kneel and concede your mistake right now. Zhao Hanyan's rebuke appeared completely incongruous with this stifling battlefield. Zhao Heng's face was a complete red, as if he had been humiliated. He originally wanted to join the unit that was subjugating the Purple Thunder monster, yet he was targeted by the Ling Yan princess. This highness does not have an imperial sister like you, who has surprisingly been consorting with the monster. Die. Zhao Hanyan's gaze was increasingly ice-cold. Although she did not hold any sentiments towards her imperial brother, they were blood after all. If it was possible, she did not want to let this guy die in vain. Flight Star Impatient Vanguard Suo Qingshuang raised her 5-star 100,000 Flame Dragon Axe, activating her charge innate skill, once again using her Earth rank Flame Emperor Slash. The Five Tigers General Dong Junqing frivolously smiled. This general should properly teach little sister, similarly using her own Earth technique. After a few dozen bouts, Suo Qingshuang's strength was already less than what she wanted it to be. Zhao Hanyan sent forth her 100 Outer Void Flying Immortals swords. When Zhao Heng saw this, he summoned a treasure chest, using his magic weapon, Land of the King. The treasure chest became a yellow cloud that immediately followed the flying swords and wrapped around all of them. Then, it moved towards Zhao Hanyan. This Land of the King was a magic weapon meticulously refined. It was able to continuously cover 1,000 li without interruption. Even if they could resist it, the average cultivator would be swallowed up before long. Once covered by Land of the King, the cultivator's consciousness would not easily break free. Upon seeing Zhao Heng was surprisingly in possession of such a magic weapon, Wuxia was wondering whether to intervene. This princess can lecture this little brother, Zhao Hanyan said with an even stricter expression. She raised the yin-yang bracelet. Wuxia nodded and stayed her hand. She looked to the other sisters. The others were fully aware they could not delayed. They were more or less making an all-out effort. Chai Ling faced complete Star Stream Leaping Tiger Chen Zhanlu. When Chen Zhanlu saw the noble star had joined the Star Duels, she was elated. She wanted to take Chai Ling's red ink iron certificate, and was the first to rush straight towards Chai Ling. The pouncing kill silver light spear's light glimmered, unleashed wildly like sparks. Earth-ranked, Blood Frost becomes Dream. This was Chai Ling's first star duel against a sister. From the start, she was somewhat unsure of what to do, but very quickly, she was irritated by Chen Zhanlu's aggression and hopping about. Although the queen did not have combat capability, she comprehended much from refining her former volume Heavenly Book, leading to an increase in her realm. The wealth-inviting beast spat out a beam of gold. Throw money away recklessly. At first, Chen Zhanlu was somewhat disdainful of this ridiculous attack, but subsequently, throw money away recklessly continued, unending. Stream Leaping Tiger was left dumbstruck. Gold filled the skies, pounding her silly. In the end, there was no place to hide. She was surprisingly smashed back into the star nest by Chai Ling's ruthless throw money away recklessly. Xie Diao and Xie Chan used their goo and poison arts to hinder Gongsun Huang. When the twins saw the lowly, they were vexed and angered as they recalled that they had nearly destroyed this ranked fourth sister back at the Vermilion Bird territory. The twins were very coordinated, completely in sync. Even when Gongsun Huang used every kind of star magic, she was unable to break free. The bamboo viper gloom blade and golden scorpion fine rain needles were strangely persistent, sinister, and tricky. Even when Gongsun Huang had the phoenix perching cloud clothes that Tang Lianxin refined, these barely lessened the pressure upon her. We could have killed you back then. We can do so today too, the twins declared, baring their fangs and showing malevolent expressions. The Xie twins possessed a powerful heaven-earth dark yellow skill that made them the most problematic opponent among all the star generals. Just as expected, their destined weapons crossed, activating their heaven-earth dark yellow right after their earth rank. They wanted to immediately take down Gongsun Huang. However, the leisure star had completely changed since back then. The girl pointed her pine-brand ancient sword. Her whole body ignited with flames, transforming into an absolutely beautiful phoenix. Snake Scorpion Beauty's kiss was nevertheless insidious. Poison fog rolled, running through and boring into the phoenix's body. Snake Scorpion Beauty's kiss entangled her, and Gongsun Huang's star magic was continuous. All of a sudden, an array appeared that trapped the Xie twins. Immediately afterwards, the Ice Soul Snow Spirit flying swords advanced, radiating a penetrating cold light. Immortal hero Princess Gong Kaiwei and leader star Zhu Sha had joined in. The Five Elements Weather Banners array was unique, and with Gong Kaiwei's outstanding sword technique, the twins immediately lost their advantages. Gongsun Huang cocked her head as she looked at Gong Kaiwei. The girl was expressionless, merely nodding slightly at her. The two of them had met each other in the past, so they were not strangers. Gongsun Huang in the past had been attracted into observing the immortal hero princess by Gong Kaiwei's clothes that were purer than snow and her spotlessness. Afterwards, this led to the leisure star wanting to sign a contract with Gong Kaiwei. Yet there was a rumor she was rejected. Although the fact was that Gongsun Huang indeed had a favorable impression of Gong Kaiwei. At that time, Gong Kaiwei had already met divine strategist Zhu Sha. The two of them could only become foes. They never imagined that because of their connection to Su Xing, the two of them could walk the same path again. Protected by Zhu Sha's array, Gongsun Huang focused on using her star magic. Xie Diao and Xie Chan showed complex expressions when they saw their heaven-earth dark yellow skill was broken. They immediately withdrew. Gong Kaiwei took out her tracing snow sword and pursued, unleashing a white light. The Xie twins' goo poison was unrivaled. The two of them working together against a single star general could leave them an abundance of leeway, but after Gong Kaiwei and Zhu Sha joined in, they immediately showed a defeated appearance. After fighting several bouts, Gong Sun Huang charged and used Phoenix Execution Skybreak. Xie Chan was no match and was destroyed back into the star nest. When Xie Diao saw her little sister had been killed, her heart ached and filled with uncontrollable rage. The dark yellow blood boiled to the extreme. She felt killing intent burst forth in her chest, but without Xie Chan, Xie Diao was completely outmatched. Filled with fury, she was destroyed by Gong Sun Huang's glimmering red light, fleeing back to Lady Snake Scorpion while cutting a sorry figure. Xin Lao's star general, General of Heavenly Vision Pring Fei, was also easily killed by Wu Xinjie using the 8 Gates black gold chains. The disparity in power between the monster-slaying alliance's star generals and Su Xing's side was too great. Even the Hao Bingxin who entered True Phoenix realm could not avoid being easily defeated by Wu Xiao. In mere moments Hao Bingxin, Suo Qingshuang, Chen Zhanlu, Peng Fei, and Xie Chan fell into their star nests in succession. The remaining star generals nevertheless lasted a bit longer. Agile Star Featherless Arrow's target was Yan Yizhen. Zhang Biluo, king of concealed weapons, could be said to be bursting with confidence. She believed that she was capable of taking the True Phoenix first stage skillful star. The asking directions to the underworld stones flickered with gloomy flames, appearing and disappearing through space. Yan Yizhen indeed was battered and bruised, showing many wounds pounded all over her body. However, the skillful star had fine footwork and perfect boxing. Zhang Biluo was unable to shake her off, preventing Featherless Arrow from dividing her attention to attack others. Furthermore, hero star Hua Wanyue was also here, using her frightening archery to firmly lock in Zhang Biluo. Zhang Biluo used her own body techniques to continuously utilize her concealed weapons. Many times, her techniques nearly killed Yan Yizhen, but they were all intercepted by Hua Wanyue's bow and arrow. One was the king of concealed weapons while the other was the master of archery. They were light and darkness, going to and fro. Evenly matched, very intense. Zhang Biluo's heart was furious. Seeing that more than half of the monster-slaying alliance's star general sister had become casualties, she began to worry. Yan Yizhen seized her chance, moving her feet. A swallow flash samsara rapidly closed in. So what if you have a moment of pride? Zhang Biluo thought. Gritting her teeth, she braced her chest and endured Yan Yizhen's heavy punch. The girl's divine intent locked on, secretly focusing her earth rank, no life under heaven, to turn things around in one move. Little E, look out. After Wu Xinjie killed Peng Fei, she spotted the flaming underworld stones around Zhang Biluo abruptly manifest demons, thinking to herself that this was bad. Just as expected, once Swallow Flash Samsara ended, Zhang Biluo's no life under heaven promptly activated. The concealed weapons were like demons, their gloomy green vanishing momentarily into thin air. Zhang Qing's concealed weapons were the most famous in the world. Once she alone defeated 5, 6 heavenly stars in a spectacular display. Wu Xinjie feared that variable would arise, so she used the 8 Gates black gold chains bind silk before rain. Chains clattered through space, soaring out, forming a net. At the same time, the concealed weapons attacked, striking the chains. The demonic flames became a fog, sounding like a rainstorm. Even the 8 Gates black gold chains were brought to the edge of collapse. See how Biluo's heaven rank shall destroy you all. Zhang Biluo arrogantly shouted. Her fingers ignited, and her whole body started to become nothingness. A pair of apathetic vermilion eyes suddenly appeared in front of her. Hua Wanyue used a sun-piercing heavenly rainbow to catch the weak points of all the incoming concealed weapons. Meanwhile, the maid had arrived in front of Zhang Biluo. Seizing her, that figure that had disappeared into nothingness was surprisingly pulled out. Zhang Biluo was shocked, sensing her technique had been interrupted. Immediately, she felt her heart stop. The world lost its light. Earth rank snapped bowstring Magnolia Lily Ballad. Liked it. Dark rank snapped bowsting Magnolia Lily Ballad. Interrupting Zhang Biluo's charged heaven rank. Yan Yizhen then used her earth rank 9 in 9 Yang life and death. Yin and Yang gathered, combining with her palms. Although Zhang Biluo's body techniques were exceptional, it was difficult to display her technique when she had been seized by Yan Yizhen's yin-yang life and death. Thus, she was struck down by the skillful star's palm attack. For a star general like Zhang Biluo, who was superb with concealed weapons but weak in defense, Yan Yizhen's powerful earth rank was already enough to drop her into the star nest. But Zhang Biluo surprisingly forced herself back up. All of her meridians were smashed by yin-yang life and death, but the girl relied on her formidable willpower to avoid falling into the star nest. Zhang Biluo was very aware that this was the final star duel. If she died, that would mean her master, Yan Wudao, would fall into a dangerous situation with no hope of reprieve, so she absolutely could not fall into the star nest, at least not like this. The charming girl showing such strong willpower moved even Yan Yizhen. Far away, Huang Yue's charged 10,000-li god-killing arrow could not help but hesitate for a moment as well. Zhang Biluo staggered forward, spreading her fingers again. Between her fingers, dim green flames ignited, becoming 8 rhomboid concealed weapons, the asking directions to underworld stones. Heaven rank, common masses, are. With Zhang Biluo's heavy injuries, there was completely no way for her to bear the power of using a heaven rank. The girl was very stubborn. The space around her vanished and shattered, then gathered up again. If it was any other final star duel, Yan Yizhen would have allowed the elder sister Featherless Arrow standing before her to use her heaven rank, common masses are nothingness, to resolve her wish. But Yan Yizhen was acutely aware that this was not the final star duel, at least not for her master. Song Jiang, who was perhaps an even stronger foe, was currently waiting at Maiden Mountain for him. So at this time, at least at this current time, any compassion or sentiments would be out of bounds of her conduct as a maid. Apologies. The indifferent maid slightly sighed, showing regret and respect. Her victory in this battle against Zhang Biluo was entirely established upon Huang Yue's suppression, the coordination between long and close range. If she had faced Zhang Biluo alone, she honestly would not have been a match. The flower tattoo etched on her back shimmered, letting out crimson light together with Yan Yizhen's vermilion eyes. Her figure warped. Her yin-yang palm sunk into the lethal point of her chest. Her back of nothingness, the faintly discernible power and formidable willpower all crumbled in an instant, vanishing into thin air. You are named Wu Dao, and Biluo's concealed weapons are known to be inescapable. Contracting with you would be perfect. Bearing those words when they signed their contract back then. Agile Star Featherless Arrow Zhang Biluo mournfully looked at the sky spinning above her, falling into the star nest. She was a formidable opponent. Huang Yue patted the taciturn Yan Yizhen. As long as we can end the star duels, there will surely still be that day we can meet. Yan Yizhen grunted. All of a sudden, they heard everyone cry out. They raised their heads to see a radical change in the crimson stars in the sky. Star after crimson star fell into Maiden Mountain. A scene that would make anyone have goosebumps. Oh no! Huang Yue's smile vanished. Fox of voracious admiration whom he was somewhat conflicted. While the others and their star generals began to stall Su Xing's star generals, she herself was somewhat aloof. After teaming up with him against Li Taisui in the Crystal Dragon Palace, and entering the Longevity Palace, much of her hostility towards Su Xing had been eliminated. Secondly, Su Xing's declaration to end the star duels made her and Su Jingshu somewhat moved. However, Humi was nevertheless unwilling to join Su Xing's 7 stars assembly like this. While everyone else were conducting star duels, Humi flew towards the Longevity Palace. Humi. She stood in front of her. Want to take revenge? Humi was indifferent. Golden Lancer Su Jingshu raised her spear, baring her pure white teeth. You are not like the other star masters. On behalf of Sir, lowly servant wants to invite you to climb the mountain with us, and end the star duels. She knew of Humi's might. Now was not the time to harbor grudges. The dangers of Maiden Mountain were unknown, and to have her and Golden Lancer would be very helpful to them. That you have not raised your hand, you should have some considerations, is that not true? She said. Humi remained silent. To not compete against Lin Chong or Wu Song, to climb the mountain like this is too uninteresting. Su Jingshu laughed. She was quiet. In terms of martial prowess, Zhang Feiyu was completely outmatched against the Golden Lancer. It would be better to allow me to take the place of Yingmei and Xiu. A solemn voice faintly carried wind and thunder. A woman dressed in white Buddhist garb floated to Shiyu's side. This woman was pretty, possessing wavy golden hair. Her eyes were calm, solemn, and majestic. So you are the solitary star. An honor to meet at last. Su Jingshu looked at Lu Shaking and respectfully nodded. The solitary star practiced Chan, placing herself outside the star duels, untainted by the slightest bit of killing intent. Then how about this? Humi shall seize little sister Shiyu and blackmail Su Xing to join his 7 stars assembly. Humi covered her mouth, smiling craftily. This way, Humi can avoid disgracing the purple firmament immortal palace's name. Fine, however, if you are defeated by lowly servant, then you shall be Sir's concubine, the lowest one at that. Shiyu harumphed without showing weakness. Their bet was one of dignity. A girl will doll herself up for he who loves her. There was nothing higher than this. Humi and Shiyu's eyes were like lightning, shooting sparks. Interesting. We shall we who conquers who then. Su Jingshu laughed. Her golden-hooked soul-snatching lance thrust towards Lu Shaking. Lu Shaking brought out the devil-sealing crescent moon Chan staff to intercept. As if divine warriors had bumped into each other, there was a burst of glaring sparks. As if a miniature sun had suddenly exploded. Su Jingshu's body sank, her wrists were numb, and she nearly lost grip of her spear. She immediately drew back under the intense light. This solitary star-flowery monk was indeed of relentless brute strength. Su Jingshu shouted. Her true phoenix realm wings extended, and her dark technique, gold and stone splitter, activated. A golden ray burst out of the spear, slashing directly at Lu Shaking's head. Lu Shaking could not avoid it completely in time, and was struck in the shoulder by the spearlight. There was a rumble. A hole was tore open in Lu Shaking's shoulder. Practically all of Su Xing's wives wore astral treasures, all refined meticulously by Tang Lianxin. For example, Lu Shaking's golden-marked heavenly woman Chan was as well. It was impervious to sword and spear, but a dark rank was able to break through, which was outside of Lu Shaking's expectations. It was obvious how formidable Su Jingshu's martial arts were. Lu Shaking remained as calm as a dry well. The withering, thriving lotus flower beast flew out, dancing beside the girl. This withering, thriving lotus flower beast appeared bizarre, like a white lotus flower on a vine. Blossoms appeared around Lu Shaking. It could not only allow Lu Shaking to hover in the air, it could also settle her mind, improving her reactions. After withstanding Su Jingshu's dark technique, the next spear attack came, not giving Lu Shaking a chance to catch her breath. The spear's rainbow linked up, a stream like a waterfall, falling around Lu Shaking. Ever since she joined the Star Duels, Lu Shaking very rarely had an actual battle. Even when she returned to the Longevity Palace, most of her time was spent comprehending Dharma, but she had once battled 7th Overlord Hu Banzwang. Each of the Star Maidens possessed unique innate skills, but each had their own niche. While the secure star could trap herself in the star nest to advance her realm, Lu Shaking's attachment to Buddhism was also like this. Lu Shaking unleashed her true phoenix realm. Phoenix wings brilliantly unfolded. Lu Shaking raised her Chan staff, striking with gorgeous Buddhist light. This was her Heavenly King's devil-sealing Chan technique. The descending killing chi was entirely destroyed. Su Jingshu renewed her shouts, contorting space and firing spearlight again. Chan clothes floated. The heavenly woman Chan clothes were peppered with holes, but Lu Shaking did not shrink back. She clenched her fist, slamming a punch into Su Jingshu's exposed chest. Arhut punch. Bang. As if striking metal or stone, Lu Shaking's passionless eyes all of a sudden showed surprise. The power of her fist was unexpectedly unable to penetrate into Su Jingshu's body. Fortunately, your servant has treasure armor. Her brocade was shattered by monster strength, revealing Su Jingshu's second star weapon, goose feather ring gold armor. This time you will not escape. Su Jingshu was high above, gripping her spear and stabbing down towards Lu Shaking. A perfectly straight golden light ran straight through Lu Shaking and out behind her. Earth rank spear technique. Lightning spear. Spear light pierced through Lu Shaking and dug an unfathomable chasm through the Yu plains. All of a sudden, the withering thriving lotus flower beast was killed instantly by the spear light filling the area. The heavenly woman-chan clothes were completely destroyed. Su Jingshu was confident this completely on-target earth-rank spear technique absolutely could heavily injure Lu Shaking, or even make her return to the star nest. But before the flowing beam of light Ying could disperse, Su Jingshu's self-confidence immediately froze. Lu Shaking surprisingly dashed out with power to spare. How can this woman? Su Jingshu was astounded. Lu Shaking's mercy palm strike was already extended, striking against her treasure armor. Su Jingshu was pushed back by this attack. She felt her whole body ache, as if her organs had been flipped around. Steadying herself, she was then amazed to find that goose feather ring gold armor surprisingly caved in with a palm-shaped dent. This solitary star was a good opponent. Su Jingshu's smile turned even more coarse and wild. Lu Shaking brandished her palm. Mercy recuperated some of her injuries, allowing her the strength to still stand. However, she still cast an expression of amazement towards Su Jingshu. The martial arts of the guardian star before her eyes were exceptional. Very good. For the next move, we shall use heaven ranks to decide the winner. Su Jingshu laughed. Lu Shaking stepped upon lotus flowers, swinging her Chan staff. The staff drew an arc, twisting in Su Jingshu's surroundings. The solemn woman used the devil-sealing crescent moon Chan staff's earth rank to tell Su Jingshu that she was far from finished. Earth rank Chan technique. Annihilation of all living forms. This is bad. Su Jingshu's expression sank. While Lu Shaking and Su Jingshu were in the middle of battle, Shiyu and Humi were also battling evenly. As Su Xing's wife, Shiyu was naturally unwilling to be overpowered by Humi. Secondly, she wanted to avenge her original defeat. Humi, on the other hand, wanted to use the position of a victor to join Su Xing's 7 Stars Assembly, to arrogantly tell all the world. The two women bet their dignity on this duel. Neither was willing to hold back. That killing intent was surprisingly far more intense than anyone else's. The Water Moon Paradise flying swords clashed with the Purple Firmament flying swords in midair. Sword light wildly collided, and killing intent pervaded. Shiyu then formed a hand seal, wielding the immemorial vermilion Jian clinging fire. Humi also released her boundless purple light to contend against it. Humi was inwardly quite shocked. She did not imagine that the Shiyu that was previously not her opponent would surprisingly advance by leaps and bounds. To learn this level of power, even she herself was surprisingly barely able to manage. It seems you have married a good lord husband. Humi indifferently assessed. Both of them were at supervoid middle stage cultivation. After competing fiercely in strength for a while, Shiyu activated her magic weapon, the dual mode's ruler. 2 green rulers instantly appeared, their images heavy as they attacked Humi. However, your servant wonders whether or not your lord husband has given you an even better magic weapon. The fox of voracious admiration slightly smiled. Her wrist flipped, revealing a portrait. This portrait contained the scene of yin and yang, of primordial chaos. Humi shook the diagram. A golden bridge flew out from the diagram, and caught the dual mode's ruler's golden light. This was none other than the once strongest magic weapon. Supreme Ultimate Diagram. However, compared her amazement back in the Crystal Dragon Palace, she was already much calmer. This made Humi take notice of her. How about you try this? Shiyu sneered. Her wrist flipped, revealing a simple and unadorned fan. She opened the fan. A dreamland appeared upon the blank fan, placing Shiyu at its center. This fan, how interesting. Humi's brow tightly wrinkled. This time, she could not bring herself to smile. Liked it? That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.